Are you struggling under a mountain of student debt? Are you worried about how you will repay the balance? Does the interest continue to accumulate? Are you healing from shame around needing student loans to attend college in the first place? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to my channel. My name is Marissa Price. I am a Black woman social worker, writer, and healer. And this channel centers Black women and femmes as we liberate ourselves from shame and heal from trauma. I have a very special guest with me today, my wonderful friend, Alicia, the artist. But I'll pass it over to her to introduce herself and tell us about her channel.
Thank you. Thank you, Marissa, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Your channel is one of the channels that I feel really safe in, and it's just always a
Oh,
good time whenever I'm here. So I really appreciate you
thank
having me.
you.
Yes, of course, of course. My name's Alicia. I am a human being. I create things for fun. I create things for fun. I encourage other people. I literally wrote down like a description, like how would I describe my YouTube channel? I said my YouTube channel is a place where I can express myself creatively and freely. It is my creative playground, my love letter to my younger self and me today and of me tomorrow, and for Black women in general. You can find affirmations, encouragement, lamenting. Okay, a lot of lamenting, music, writing.
Yeah,
It allows me space to be a full human being and to be witnessed as a full human being. So yeah,
I love
thank
that.
you,
I
thank
love
you.
that. Yes, we got Marissa here, a fellow
Hi,
garden
Marissa.
member, which is your
Yes.
community that you started, right?
Oh,
That was just like so inspirational to so many of us to
thank you.
tap back into our creative gifts that a lot of us
Yeah,
have left like in the past in childhood and like reclaiming those. So thank you.
of course.
Thank you for
Thank
reaching
you.
out.
Thank you all for making the garden.
Yes, of course, of course. I see Temple here.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. To everyone who's joining, please introduce yourselves in the chat so we can say hello.
Yes.
Michelle Love, hey, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to everyone who's joining. So, yes, the title of tonight's chat is The Scam of Student Loan Debt for Black Women Healing from Shame. Also, the problems with student loans, which we're going to get into, just with the student debt crisis and how it disproportionately impacts Black students and graduates. So, just like to share some of my story, it took me a long time, as I was sharing with Alicia, to even say that I have like over $70,000 of student debt, right? From undergraduate, from graduate school. As a first generation college student, I had no idea what I was entering into. And just getting to that point where it's like, I can say that out loud because a lot of us are just carrying this inside, right? So, yeah, that's huge. If you're carrying shame from student loan debt, we would love to hear your experience, how you're working through it. And El the Coyote, let me know if I'm saying that right. Hey, welcome. Danica Gilmore, hello from Cincinnati. Hello. From Atlanta, hey. Chica, hey, welcome. Yes. Hello and God bless everyone. Thank you. From Temple. Jamal, hey, good evening, everyone. Here to support these two amazing women. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. From Rhode Island, on my way to Toronto. Okay. Traveling, I love that. I love that. But yes, just to start off with a quote, right, from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And the articles I'm pulling from are linked in the description if you do want to check these out yourself. But it says because they have fewer socioeconomic resources, less parental and generational wealth, less home equity to finance a loan, and fewer savings, students of color are forced to take on more debt to cover tuition and living expenses to make up for the wealth gap between them and their white peers. Data from the US Department of Education indicates that around 86% of Black students take out student loan debt compared with around only 68% of white students, right? So we see this as a huge issue. I want to ask you, as a first generation college student myself, I had no understanding, like I said, of student loan debt. What was your understanding of student loans before you entered into college?
Yeah. So my mother actually went to college. She went to college in '74, and so when she went to college, college was a lot cheaper back then. She also came from low income home. So she's one of eight siblings altogether. And so I think that she got some financial help. But also the loans that she took out, it didn't, hey Nate, it didn't feel that heavy. And to be quite honest with you, there was no like literature given, there was no education given about student loans at all. It was just kind of like, you need to go to
Mm-mm,
school. We
none.
can't afford it, honey. So you need to take out a loan. And so that's basically all I knew. And I did. I just knew that I need to go to college, and my mother could not afford it. That's it. I
Mm-hmm.
tried everything when I was in school to playing sports, Like I was MVP of like both of, or captain, I should say, of like a lot of sports teams. I was in a lot of things trying to get scholarships, and nothing worked out. But that's, we'll talk about that later. But nothing worked out, and so I was like, okay, well, I have to go to school, so I don't have no other choice. Like there's no other choice for me. So this is all there is, you know. So yeah,
Yeah, that's how I felt too, right?
yeah,
Being the first in my family to go to college. No, I couldn't be like, hey, can you give me like $40,000 for this semester? And I took all the tests, right, to get the high scores on, oh my God, that's a whole other topic. ACT, SAT, right, standardized testing. But I didn't qualify for a full ride scholarship. And so I had to take out loans to substitute that gap because where else was I going to get the money from? Right? This is intentional to keep us out of these spaces that were never created for us in the first place.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I do think there was this, I don't know, this understanding that later on, like, oh, I'll get a job. This is what was told. Like you graduate, you go get a job. With that job, you'll be able to pay back that loan ASAP.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
so. Not so.
That's a lie, right?
Yeah, it's
That's
a
a lie
lie.
they told so many of us.
It's a lie.
Just continue to take out loans. And I know that I used loans for like living expenses. When that refund check came in, it's like, okay, I can like use that to afford these things. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And so there was like an emphasis, like continue to take out more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. It was like
Yeah.
almost like candy. Like,
Yes.
yeah, take
Because
out even more.
it's almost like, yeah, that covers a tuition, but we're not talking about room and board. We're not talking about books that were like 400 a pop for no reason.
Hmm.
We're not talking about
Okay. I don't even have books on my
transportation.
list. Yeah. Books.
Yes.
Hmm.
They beat my behind, but I'm just like, nobody, when they're saying like, oh, this is on average how much it costs, and then it also depends on what major you go into. Nobody explained that. Like nobody explained, oh, different majors require different things for labs or different things for like different requirements. So even when I was in school, I had to go to internships on my own dime. I went to school in Baltimore, so that meant traveling around Baltimore on my own. So yeah, yeah, it was awful.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not prepared for the textbooks. The textbooks ran me about at least $500 per semester. And that was like on the low end. Right. And a lot of the textbooks that you had to buy, they were like specifically written by a certain professor. So you couldn't like
Mm-hmm.
get them off of another site
Yep.
that was cheaper. And that was
Yeah,
intentional.
it
Right.
was.
These things are put in place intentionally to keep us out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right. To
because
limit access. Hmm.
even the books, the specific editions. So not just, you can't just get the book
Oh.
from last year. You got to get the new one. so, so like it got to be the right edition, or else you're gonna be behind. I remember
Yeah.
going to school waiting for my refund check to hit because I
Yes.
was at the beginning of the school year. It's chaotic already, but waiting for my refund check to hit meant that I could buy my books. I can pay my rent, right, if I was living off campus or on it. And so I was always behind in the beginning of the semester because I didn't have any money. Like I literally came to school after working all summer, thinking that I'm saving up this money for school, and by the time I'm checking out of the school bookstore, all my money was gone. So those, yeah. So the refund checks were a godsend, but like they're not free money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still
They're
a loan.
not. Hmm.
So yeah, you still gotta pay it
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
And I used that to survive throughout college,
Yes.
right? To
Same.
pay, oh my gosh, the room and board
Mm-hmm.
was astronomical,
Ridiculous.
especially for like the dorm that I was in, right? Built in like 1900. It felt like why
I
am
don't
I
mean to
paying
laugh.
like 12? Why am I paying $1,200 a month equivalent?
Hello. And some
Plus.
dorms didn't even have
Hmm.
heat or air. Yeah. So yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's true. It's a setup. Just read a comment from Michelle here. It says, it took me 7 years to graduate with my undergrad degree. I have $58,000 in debt. I'm a first generation college student and graduate in my immediate family. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, yeah. So many of us have these like huge amounts of debt, right? And we're going to get into like, this targets us. This impacts us disproportionately. We're taking on shame. Like, I should have went a different route. I should have applied to more scholarships. That's one of the pieces of shame I had. I applied to so many scholarships. I had to tell myself that, right? And the sob stories that you have to put in the scholarship application, that was taxing. That was emotionally draining.
It was. Yeah. I
Hmm.
remember I remember those essays. Basically basically using your trauma, using your
Mm-hmm.
trauma to beg someone to give you some sort of relief or help, or you know. And people are like, oh, you want handouts? It's like, no, like literally, I have nothing. Like when I was going into school, my parents were separated. Like they were going through a separation, and my mother was a single mom, and so like there was no, oh, let me just ask my dad for. I think about, it's not funny, but I think about the worlds away that some people live in. Like I'm thinking about Donald Trump,
Yeah.
for example, saying, oh yeah, I took a small loan of $1 million. It's like, honey,
Yeah.
I couldn't even get 100. You know what I'm saying? And so because we were
Mm-hmm.
in such like financial distress, like I had to keep rehashing these things to these people, pleading my case to like, hey, I'm worthy of coming to your institution. I'll be a valuable asset to your community. You know, I'll give back in the ways that I can. And them essays, oh my goodness, like the essays that I wrote for these scholarships were long. They were good essays. I'm not gonna lie, they were good essays, but they were very they're very traumatic to have to keep writing
Yeah.
them over and over
Mm-hmm.
again and get nothing back in return. Like I think when I
Mm-hmm.
went to school, I got a, maybe it was like a Maryland grant at the time. I forgot who was the anyway, but it was a Maryland grant for like maybe $200 to $500. What is that going to do me? Like that's not even covering books, you know? So it was
No.
like a slap in the face after all of that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're so like hyper competitive, right? The scholarships. It's like all these values of white supremacy that are just like in one institution that is higher education. It's like compete against all these people to get this limited amount of funding, right? Drain yourself emotionally as you're having to rehash very traumatic experiences to put in the scholarship application, and then you don't even get it. And then you're still under financial duress trying to afford this education that's trying to keep you out at every turn. Yeah, yeah, that's real. That's real. Michelle says there's so much pressure to go to grad school and get my master's and almost did it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Having gone to grad school, and I put that pressure on myself, right? To go into a different field. I'm like, okay, I have to have a degree, something I talk about on my channel, like this pressure that we feel to get another degree and another degree and another degree on top of that to prove that we're worthy. It's like having to heal from that and realize, no, I validate myself, right? I don't need another degree. I know enough. I know
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
Even if I can add, like when I was in
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, high school, my junior and senior year, I was making straight A's. Like I talk about this, like even my senior year, I was making 4.12s, like just overachieving, just overdoing, overcommitting. I also had a job and doing all this stuff. And like the first time that I applied to Towson, I got waitlisted. And when that happened, I really felt like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like I'm still not good enough after all these, you know, hours and all this effort and energy I put into this or that, like this extracurricular activity, these grades, or like it's just not enough. And I really feel like for Towson specifically, I really feel like they, the school that I went to was not necessarily a school that was like esteemed as like, you know, super positive
Mm-hmm.
school. There was a lot going on. And so I think that the recruiters came almost like dangling something in your face to be like, oh, don't you want it? Don't you want it? And like later on, they
Yep.
accepted me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because I felt overjoyed of like, yes, okay, I got into the school because I studied deaf studies. There was only one school in Maryland that I could go to get this
Right.
degree. And because I was so pressed, I was so happy to get in. I think it's almost like they gave me crumbs what I could get because they knew that I was so desperate. Like they could feel the desperation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until I graduated, and it took me, shout out to you, it took me 9 years to get my degree. So you're not alone. And one of the reasons why it took me so long is because of the money. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I feel that pain and that shame of not feeling like you're enough, and you're already going into it feeling grateful almost for like their
It's
crumbs.
true.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's set up for us to continue to seek their stamp of
Yes.
approval,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things like we work through, like in the garden, right? Give yourself permission because we're
Yeah.
socialized literally to seek the permission of
Yes.
other people
Yes.
to do what we want to do. And a lot of the things that we're learning are like is stolen knowledge, right? Being sold back to us, right? So that's another thing. It's like
Yes.
we're paying for
Yes.
something that's stolen,
Yes.
so they can
Yes.
label us as like approved and ready
Gate
for the field
kept.
that we're about to enter. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Cargle in her book, A Renaissance All Our Own, one thing
Mm-hmm.
that she talked about was about education, like rethinking education. And she was talking about how she went to school and she was in the library, and she was like, there's so many resources here. I know this is not what we're talking about, but there are so many resources here. But
Yeah.
she was sitting there like, wow. So like the only thing keeping these books and this literature and this access is money. Like the only
Mm-hmm.
reason why these people don't have the knowledge and the wisdom is because of money, not because it's not available. It's because you all are hoarding it. You all are keeping it to yourself and making us clamor and claw and beg, and go into thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. Because you said you're 70K. I think I'm near that or over that. Like, so, and
Mm-hmm.
that's with interest. That's, and interest is a whole. It's a whole. It's
Yeah,
evil. Interest is so evil. But yes, yes.
yeah, I know. Ooh, oh my gosh. But I do want to ask, like, how your understanding of student loans changed after you graduated. Did you have a different perception of student loans and student debt?
For sure. I think after I graduated, I was pissed. I know that's not like
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but angry, just feeling like I got taken advantage of. Because to be fair, I think that college can be a great experience for everybody. You know what I mean? But I just felt like I was paying to be hazed. Like I was paying all this money to be tortured and hazed and ridiculed and abused by my professors, my teachers, my counselors, my whatever. Like,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
and it just adds insult to injury. Like, not only do I have to heal from the trauma of school, but now I also have to pay back a debt that low key, y'all can take this degree. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
I think looking back, yeah, obviously, if I hindsight is 2020. If I can go back in time, I would tell myself, "Girl, don't do it, don't do it, don't sign." But you know, I think I'm just more aware of how evil and predatory the world is. I think when you're
hmm
young and you're bright-eyed and you're thinking like you think the world has good intentions for you because you have good intentions for the world. I'm going to school to be able to serve. You know what I mean? Like eventually, and then I'm realizing, oh, actually, no, people see me as prey and they want to take advantage of me. So I think there's this. I feel like I was harmed. That's
yeah.
that's the feeling, you know. And so yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I resonate with that. Being paid to
yeah,
be hazed.
yeah.
College was very traumatizing for me, right? And
Same.
how you talk about like teachers. Yeah, I encountered a lot of teachers just as I did throughout like K through 12, trying to dim my light, trying to like take me down a notch all the time. And this time I was paying for it, right? Because I went to public school. So now I was paying like with student loans, like 40,000 plus a year to experience this treatment. And I'm supposed to feel like lucky for it, right? That's
Lucky,
really twisted.
grateful. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And I did want to mention just like the term like Jim Crow debt, which I linked more about in the description section. But this follows a historical trend, right? Student debt of debt traps that harm Black people disproportionately, sharecropping, subprime mortgages, student loans, right? It continues. Discrimination in employment, which we face, lower wages, psychological harm in the workplace and in school settings. So this is like leading us into this trap, right? It's a real trap. So if you're feeling any of these same emotions, know that you're not alone. It's a system.
Yeah, yeah.
Temple says, "Screw that shame. It weighs too much. Yeah, drop it. Exchange it out for peace and acceptance. Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
Externalize it. That has
Yes.
been so helpful for me because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us will internalize what we go through. We think we're the only one,
Mm-hmm.
and by sharing our stories like this collectively, it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only one
No,
that has like 70,000 plus in student debt. I can like
no.
say that out loud
Mm-hmm.
and breathe a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it feel? It feels good to expose what is shame. What we to save
Mm-hmm.
people. To save people, it
Yeah.
feels good to expose what we think as shameful because, like Temple was saying, like that shame is not ours. My cousin said that to me. We were talking
Yeah.
about our fathers at the time and how, like, I just felt
Oh
so
yeah,
much
I watched
shame and,
that.
like, oh, thank you, thank
Mm-hmm.
you. And she was like, that shame is not yours. And those words, like, freed me. Like, I don't have anything to be ashamed about. I don't have anything to be ashamed of, excuse me. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Was I
Mm-hmm.
ignorant? Yes. But I was also like bamboozled. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
they put things in certain language to keep things. When I'm looking at the contracts and things like that, I don't know what this says. I need a
Right.
whole law degree to understand
Oh
this
my gosh.
literature. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
18. You know what I'm saying? So it's I really had to be like you're talking about externalize, like, girl, you're not the problem here. Like you're not, it's not
No.
you. Like
Mm-mm.
that, What is someone giving an 18-year-old this much money? Like, what are they doing? They're the wrong ones. I couldn't even
They are.
qualify to rent a car till I was 21. Couldn't rent a
Yeah,
car till, why are you giving me this much money?
that's real. That's
Anywho,
real.
but yeah.
Yeah. And it's like working in the banking field, right? You need like collateral, right? To qualify for like even less amount of loans that we were taking out like candy as 18-year-olds, right? Having these promissory notes, like you said, with like the terms and conditions, like I have no idea what this is saying. I know that I need to go to school, right? In the system that is set up, I need to go to school as you're telling me to like be okay. And we
Yes.
know that's not even the case
Mm-mm.
for a lot of us. That's a lie too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're set up in this trap. It really is a
Yeah.
trap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donna says, I follow YouTubers that's a lawyer that graduated, oh my gosh, with 300,000 in student loan debt, 75
Oh,
75,000
wow.
in principal. The rest is
See,
interest.
I believe it. I believe it.
That's $225,000 in interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's compound interest,
Mm-hmm.
right? The same reason like we're told to invest in the stock market because you earn interest on top of the
Yeah.
interest, basically.
Yeah.
That's what's accumulating on our student loans because they have not put in anything in place
Mm-hmm.
to stop that from happening. So that's why like the balance is so high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's wild. Michelle says, I'm one of 9 siblings, third oldest. I knew nothing about loans, but that they were available.
That's it.
That I can resonate with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Yeah, and no one was trying to educate us,
No.
right? Because it's information asymmetry. Someone is benefiting from us not knowing what's happening
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yes, I wanted to ask. Oh, I did want to share something. A
Mm-hmm.
2022 elevator survey on student loan debt revealed that borrowers experience adverse mental health conditions as a result of their debt. 56% reported experiencing anxiety, while 32% reported depression, 20% reported insomnia, and 17% reported panic attacks. Right? So this is like causing real mental health impacts, the student debt. So I wanted to ask like how student debt has affected your life, like financially and emotionally. Anything you'd like to share?
Girl.
Yeah.
I think at this point I'm just numb because I refuse to give my energy to something I can't change. I don't make a lot of money. And even with my degree, I didn't make a lot of money. Coming out of college, it's a long story, but coming out of college, the first job that I had paid $7.25 an hour with my degree. Hi. Paid $7.25 an hour with my degree. Like as a degreed individual, they were like
725.
$7.25 in Maryland. Yes. And this was working one-on-one with a deaf individual and basically interpreting. This was, I work with deaf plus individuals. So that's like folks with who may be deaf and may have and may also be dealing with being bipolar or like these kinds of things. Like, so you're dealing with like deaf plus individuals. And so I'm just like, okay, cool. This is what I went to school for, human services. Yeah. And so 725, I literally had to quit like my first week because I was doing the math and I was like, hold on, the math is not mathing. Like
No.
Sally Mae is going to come knocking on my door in 6 months or however many months after you graduate. And I'm not going to have anything to give them based on like what I'm making. But yes, shame. I wrote down a lot of things. I said shame, internal and external, like feeling shame, being ashamed of myself, but then also being shamed by other people. There are a lot of people who be dragging millennials. Like, we can't do nothing
Oh
right,
my
honey.
God.
Okay, we can't. we can't do nothing right.
True.
And there was so much like, well, you knew what you were getting into, and da da da. Again, my mother is a baby boomer, right? She went to school in '74.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to look this up because I mean, well, whatever. We'll probably talk about it later. But when she went to school in '74, school was not, even in terms of inflation, was not as expensive as when I went to school, right? So there's a lot of shame because it's like, oh, you should know better because your mom also has a degree. You should know better. But my mom was under different circumstances, and she also didn't have the language to teach me. So there's that. And then financially, it destroyed my credit before I could even start my life. Like my student loans, my car died. One of the many times it died. And I went to go look for a car. And I went to the dealership and they basically said, well, you don't have any consumer debt, but you have all this student loan debt. And I'm like, okay, but they told me that student loan debt was good debt. I'm
Oh my gosh,
confused.
I had that written down there.
Like, yes, like you
Yeah.
said it, y'all said good
Mm-hmm.
debt, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so then I felt like I was being punished because I'm responsible with my money. So now because I don't have any credit card, and and this is no shame also to people who have credit card debt, but I'm just saying like I was afraid of taking out loans and stuff like that because I want to be free. And so I didn't have any credit cards. I didn't sign up for any of that. I didn't take out any loans for any things that I couldn't afford. I lived very much within my means. And when I needed to use credit to leverage it to benefit me, these student loans worked against me. And so now I was sitting here with like 60 grand of debt and they're looking at me like, well, you don't have anything else going on. So we can't finance you. So financially right out the gate, I was like, okay, this is a setup. There's nothing I can do. And then I went to go get a cheaper car, and that car kept shutting down on me, breaking down, because that's all I could afford. I couldn't afford anything else. I wasn't being approved for anything else. So financially it messed me up. For apartments and things like that, looking for somewhere to live, they look at that stuff that's on that report, like, and it's just like this red letter, like, you know what I'm saying, that this red letter you wear across your chest, like, you're a failure, honey. You don't get to live somewhere nice. You don't get to drive a nice car. Yeah, for going to school, for doing what I thought was the responsible thing to do. Mentally, I said, I feel like I was taken advantage of and no one has any empathy for us. Like, I feel like a lot of people who take out loans for school, like, again, everybody's like, well, you got to pay it back. And you never paid that much money in your life for anything. You've never paid that much money for anything. Maybe a house. Okay, I'll give you a house. Other than that, there's nothing that is that expensive that the elders that were looking down on us, that you had to pay for. Generally speaking. Yeah. So I said it also stopped me from pursuing further education. So this is the thing. My degree is in deaf studies with a human services focus. Usually people take that or get that degree and go into interpreting. To become an interpreter now, you have to have a bachelor's degree. There's no option. Like, to be an interpreter, you have to obtain a bachelor's degree by some year or something. Like, that all changed. So literally while I was in school, at first you didn't need a degree to be an interpreter. They changed the rules while I was in school. So now I can't drop out and just go learn under another interpreter. I can't, do things the cheaper way. Now I have to get a degree. And so then after I graduated, I then have to become certified, which means I need to take more courses and more classes, either get a master's or a certificate, right? That's more money. So because I didn't have the money, it stopped me from actually pursuing the career that I actually wanted to pursue, which is interpreting. So it kind of put me in a bind because it made me hesitant, because I was like, I already can't pay back what I've taken out. And so for me, I'm like, let me be responsible. What's the responsible thing to do? You can't afford to go to school. You can't afford it. Like, that's it. Also mentally, I said overall, sorry if this is really long, but when you gave me this question, I was like, oh, like I was telling you earlier that I was like weeping. I was like sad and like grieved because I think because I was so ashamed of these student loans, I didn't really work through the feelings that I had around them, because it's just like, oh, we're just going to act like it's not there. We're going to put it in the closet and shut the door. It doesn't exist.
Oh my gosh. That's
We don't talk
about
about
too.
Yes.
Yeah. It was something you didn't talk about. It's like,
Yeah.
it's accumulating throughout the years you're in college.
Yes.
Then you'll get the job. And
Exactly.
Then
You'll deal with it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, like, I just felt like a failure. I felt like my degree got me nowhere. Human services do not pay. Working for people does not pay. You're being punished and trapped into servitude, right? And even like that word, like forgiveness, like I did something wrong. Student loan forgiveness, like forgiving for what? Like, it makes you feel like you've trespassed or something, like you've done something wrong to someone, when all I did was follow the code that you all told me, you know what I'm saying, to do, like the path that you all told me to do. Yeah. So I said, yes. So like, you know how the government has like, oh, if you work for 10 years, then you'll like maybe get your loans forgiven. That's indentured servitude. Like that's literally like, you know what I'm saying? It's indentured servitude. And so like, it just felt like I was imprisoned, and it felt like, oh, you're not paying your debt back to society. Like you're living off of, you're living off of the government, or like these kinds of same
Yes.
shameful, like right, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, let me tell you something, they're not missing that money. I promise you right now, the country is in trillions of dollars of debt. They're not
Trillion.
like my little my little
Mm-hmm.
$70,000 is not even a drop in that bucket. So
Mm-hmm.
the audacity of a country to tell you that you are a failure for not paying your dues when you literally are running off of debt. Everything in this country runs off of debt. There is no way, almost no way. If you're going to do the things that the American dream says to do, there's no way you can do that without debt.
Yep.
Not for me anyway, because I don't come from wealth. I don't have generational wealth. I don't have that money waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I just said, at least in some ways I just gave up worrying about it because I can't do anything about it. And it also, my student loans put a strain on me and my mother's relationship at some point,
Mm-hmm.
because she signed for Parent Plus loans. And
Okay.
at the
Yeah.
time, we didn't really understand what that was, but like for some reason, they're like, "Oh, you reached your max." Talk about me in school. You
Mm-hmm.
reached your max, but now we need a cosigner. And so my mother had to
Yeah.
co-sign my loans. And so, because at some point I couldn't pay them because they were asking for like $1,200 a month on
Mm-hmm.
$7.25 an hour, I
Right.
couldn't pay that back. And so there was tension between she and I. So like,
Mm-hmm.
like it affected my life in every way. The progress of my life, the relationships that I had, the choices, my career choices for the future, just everything. Yeah, but like I said, like depression, anxiety, being talked down to by the customer service representative at these places when you're asking for help,
Mm.
being treated like a criminal or a villain, people
Mm-hmm.
chastising you like a child. I don't take kindly to that. I'm sorry. My mom don't talk to me like that. You not finna talk to me like that. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I literally had to like tell some customer service representatives, "This ain't your money, honey. This is not your money."
Mm-hmm.
So like, why are you being
Right.
so and you probably have student loan debt too. You're probably working somewhere you don't want to work, and they're making you like the guard, the dog, so to speak, to go fetch their
Yeah.
coin. And for me, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
about to be talked down to because I'm in a situation that you're also probably in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yep.
So that's that. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing that.
Thanks for
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And they like pit us against each other too. That's what came up. Right. So folks who work in these places, it's like you said, it's not your money. Why are you coming at me like that? Right. I'm trying to get relief again for attending school. That's how I got these loans. I think that has to be emphasized. We weren't out here like trying to like buy a yacht at 18. We're literally trying to get an education, which is a human right. It should be afforded to us just automatically. But it's put behind barriers. We have to get loans. Like I said, those of us who don't come from families where we can just be like, hey, can you give me 40,000 for this year and just be good? Like, that's not possible. Right. And then we're being blamed. And this is a pattern, like I said, throughout history. We're being blamed for a systemic issue that is intentionally causing these effects that we're experiencing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Through good debt. Also, I want to touch on that. That's what was told to me too.
Yes.
This is good debt, right?
Yes.
This won't affect your credit score,
Mm-hmm.
right? You'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to pay for it after you graduate.
Lies.
This is not the same debt as everything else. It was
Mm-mm.
painted in the marketing around student debt. Ooh, that just came up,
Mm.
right? The marketing, how they market it to us, like just take more and more and more. You'll be good.
We're your
You'll be good.
benevolent godparents, please.
It's
Like,
true. Oh my gosh, that's predatory. That is so predatory. Gonna read some comments here. Not struggling with student debt yet, but I'm returning to university and I was considering loans to go to a private college opposed to going to tech school, which FAFSA would cover first generation. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I think it's like it's important to weigh those, right? Now that I've been out of private school, both times undergraduate and graduate, I'm looking back like, dang, I should have went to community college, right? That's another thing we're going to get into, like the pressure and stigma to attend a certain university, and you're racking up student loan debt to be there instead of taking like a lower cost option that would alleviate some of the financial burden, right? But there's a stigma around that. Do you want to like share anything about that? Like the stigma around attending a lower cost university versus like a private institution.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Largo High School. For anybody who knows PG, PG County, Maryland. But I went to Largo High School. Right next door was a community college, Prince George's Community College, and yeah. So basically, a lot of people look down on PG to say Prince George's Community College because they were saying like they would make jokes about like, oh, it's 13th grade, right? Like downplaying
Mm,
downplaying like the relevance and like their they were accredited, like, you know, there was nothing wrong. It was just looked down on because like, oh, this is where the failures go. This is where the people go who can't get into a 4-year university or you know, doesn't matter if it's in state or out of state, but like to go to
mm-hmm.
Prince George's County Community College was seen as like a failure. And
Mm-hmm.
so we also had students in our senior year who were concurrently enrolled. So like they were enrolled in high school and college at the same time to get credits to go to college. And
Yeah.
so it was almost like, oh, then it must not be like that rigorous or that like challenging or whatever, which is like also like, okay. But what I learned later was that if you went to community college, yes, Mara, yes, like if you went
Mm-hmm.
to community college in Maryland, then they will take the credits that you earn at community college for cheaper, and in some instances you can get a scholarship to go to a 4-year university in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I didn't know anything about that. I look back on high school and I'm just like, that wasn't right. During the spring season when you're receiving these acceptance letters from college, they would have a wall where all the seniors who got accepted into 4-year universities got put on this wall.
Validation.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
validation. Yep. And shame if
Mm-hmm.
your name was not up on the wall, right? And so
Yeah.
like so there was this pressure, whether it was spoken about or not, there was a lot of pressure for us to like go to these 4-year universities instead of community college because for whatever reason they didn't really push that on us. I think
Yeah.
for them, but again, to be fair, my teachers were either the silent generation or baby boomers when I was in high school. And so
Mm-hmm.
maybe some Gen X too, but yeah, mostly the silent generation and baby boomers. And the way that the things that they had to go through to attend school were completely different. How much they had to pay was way less. Like
Right.
I literally wrote down what it was back then for inflation. Where, for example, again, my mother went to school in 1974. She graduated in 1974. Yes, PGCC. But she went to school in 1974. In 1974, on average, college was $514 a year. Okay? Just
Mm.
$514 a year.
A year.
2008, a year. When I entered school in 2008, the average was 6,312, right, a year.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I paid more. Mine was more
Mm-hmm.
7,000, 8,000, and I was in state. And
Per
so
year.
per
Per year.
year, yes, per year,
Okay.
7 to 8,000. Actually, that doesn't sound right. Actually, no. It was double that. It was 7,000, I think, for the semester.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so $514 in 1974 in 2008 would have only been $2,336. So I paid at this point almost 6 times,
Mm-hmm.
almost 6 times, like on
Yeah.
par, like with my mother's degree than my mother ever paid. And so like if she paid that in 1974, then people paid less than that in like 1960 something, 1950 something, and those were my teachers. So I think for them they were like encouraging us to go like, yeah, like it's not that much, you know, it'll be fine, it'll be
Mm-hmm.
okay. No, it's not okay. So I don't even think they were malicious with it. I think they were just ignorant. They didn't know because their experiences were completely different, you know? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like adjusted for inflation, you're
Yes.
still paying, like you said, like 6 times
6 times.
what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so important to point out the generational differences. Because, like you said, a
Yes.
lot of people just didn't know.
Mm-mm.
They didn't
They
know
did it.
because the cost of higher education just skyrocketed,
Mm-hmm.
especially with our generation, right? And people were not prepared. They were not educated about it, of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're lured into a debt trap,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's that's
Yeah.
real. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna read some comments
Yeah.
here. Michelle says, I literally use that yes refund to live because I
Same.
could only work part time because of my
Mm-hmm.
schedule. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Because
Me
that's another
too.
thing.
Yeah.
Classes were middle of the day. Like, who can
Mm-hmm.
afford to work and go to school full time? Like when your classes are at like 12:30, 12:30 p.m. or 1:45. It's yeah,
Hmm.
it's ridiculous.
Hmm. And I know that you said that you worked multiple jobs,
I sure
right?
did.
While in college, like, what was that experience like trying to juggle school and three
Yeah.
multiple jobs at the same time?
I was talking earlier to Jamal about like the how I guess like how much of a failure I felt going into school because again, I was in high school overachiever. I had a job, like I was playing sports every season. I was on in newspaper choir, like all these different things. And when I got to college, like I had that same like energy and like gusto, like yes, let's get it. Let's get it done. In college I had at the time I had 6 classes, which is a full schedule, it's 18 credits.
Oh
Six
my
classes
God.
on my
Hmm.
yeah, doing way too much. 6 classes. I had a job off campus at McDonald's, on campus at the theater, and somewhere else. Oh, and I worked in DC at the same time.
Oh.
So I went to school in Baltimore. I worked at Lucky Strike in DC. And then I also worked on campus. And so I'm thinking like work study. Oh, because my mother was like, heard my, desperation. And she was like, try work study program because that's what she did. And they paid part of her tuition.
Mm.
No,
Oh, really?
yes,
Hold on. What?
yes.
The rules change. Oh
The
my
rules
gosh.
changed. Yep.
Yeah.
So because she
Wow.
worked for the school, they paid part of her tuition. They didn't do that with me. They literally just paid me like 7 something an hour,
Seven,
like
I was
whatever
gonna say
the
seven something.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever the minimum wage was. And so I'm just like, okay, this is not adding up. And
Hmm.
so I was exhausted. I was overworked, stressed out, tired, like literally physically tired, like from having 6 classes. Then I went online the next year. That's a whole other conversation. I was just doing too much. And yes. Nate, same. I was just doing too much. Like, and it was an awful experience. I don't like there's no like way to, make it shiny and pretty. It was an awful experience. And all I was trying to do was live. That's it. I was working because I needed to live. I needed to eat, okay? Because the meal plan that I
Hmm.
had was only like seven,
Oh, meal
like
plan.
14 meals. Yes.
Hmm.
Maybe 14 meals a week, if that, because I couldn't get the full one because it was too expensive. So like now I have to find other ways to eat. I don't have a kitchen the first year of campus. You're just eating noodles and
That's
like just
true.
trying your best.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it was a very stressful experience. So yeah, it was awful.
Hmm.
Long
Hmm.
story short, it
Yeah.
sucked. So yeah.
And that's bringing up so many things like meal plan. I haven't thought about that in forever. Like that's an additional cost.
Yep.
All of these things that you need, like to be on campus, right? You
To
need
live.
shelter, you need
Yes.
food, right? They're added expenses to an already exorbitant amount of tuition that we're paying in our generation, right? So this is
Yes.
setting us up to fail. This is Jim Crow debt, right? This is
Immediately.
intentional. Yeah,
Yeah. And
this
then
is intentional.
God forbid, again, you have internships or labs or other things you have to come out of pocket with, like lab fees and things. And I'm just like, what is this money going to? If I'm paying y'all 8 grand a semester,
Mm-hmm.
why should I have to pay y'all anything? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's very true. Yeah. Read some comments. Donna says, I was never told of other options to fund college outside of Pell Grants. Yeah. Yeah. And Pell Grants, like, were very helpful, right? But they only covered, like, a sliver of tuition. Because, again, the rising cost of tuition, none of these things had kept up with that. And so we were left to take out loans to fill in the gap. What else were we going to do? Right? We are sold college as the only option to like succeed. And that's a whole other thing, right? The American dream, like succeed in life. Um, and yeah, it's a trap. Nate says, I'm going to say this thanks to Marissa's and Alicia's advice and studying many books in the library for free. I finally got a promotion. Yay! Finally realized I didn't need a degree to be great. I love that. Congrats. Congrats. Yeah, you don't. You don't need a degree to be great. Absolutely not. Noelia, hello, says weeks away from getting my LCSW, so I can afford to take my loans out of forbearance. Such a scam. Yeah. Yep, forbearance. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, all these terms that we know nothing about. What are these? Even know how to interpret,
Oh, sorry,
right?
you
On purpose.
you
Yeah.
went out a
And
little
like,
bit. I'm sorry. But you're back now. You're back now. What did you say? I'm
Okay.
sorry. I missed it.
Yeah, I was just
It might
gonna
have
say
been
like,
me.
no, we can't even interpret what these documents are telling us, right? Because they're written by lawyers. And we're like really young. A lot of us when we go into college, even if you're not, you don't have a background in law a lot of the times to understand what these terms mean. And so you're just signing because you need an education, right? So there's no shame that's required in that.
Yeah.
This is the setup. Hmm.
Also, congrats. But also, I understand.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like bittersweet. Yay. And then also like,
Hmm.
oh, taking it out of forbearance. Yuck. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. Congrats to you. Yeah. Michelle says I applied to 53. Yeah. 53 scholarships, cried my 12th grade heart out because all I got was one. I hate that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I can relate to that because I
Yeah.
can't even count
Mm-mm.
how many scholarship applications I did.
Mm-mm.
Right. And even coming to the point of just now being like, okay, I can take the shame off of myself. Because
Yeah.
I would like repeat to myself, why didn't I apply to more scholarships? I did.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did. I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't get them because they only awarded like two,
Yeah.
right? Maybe out
Yeah.
of like 1,000, 5,000 applicants because we're all vying for the same financial support
Yeah.
to try to afford this.
Fighting for
Mm-hmm.
the same crumbs.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
And the thing is, like, they know
Mm-hmm.
if thousands of people are applying for a scholarship, they know we ain't got it. They know we don't
Mm-hmm.
have the money. You know what I mean? And even still, they're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay,
Yeah.
so yeah.
That's true. That's true. I'm just scrolling down a little bit. I'll come back up. SP says Jim Crow debt had our whole house on silent for like 2 seconds. So true. Yeah. When I came across that term, I have more articles linked in the description section. I'm like, yes, yes, that's what it is. A continuation of sharecropping, right? Of subprime lending that impacted Black borrowers disproportionately. This is a continuation of a pattern, and we're being harmed. Yeah, absolutely. In that note, I wanted to talk about predatory lending. So, why student loans can be described as a scam or a debt trap, in your opinion, giving like high interest rates, compound interest, interest on top of interest, which is why our total balances are so high and the principal is so small. That's the effect of compound interest. And also, no collateral required, like what would be required for like a mortgage or something like that at this amount. So yeah, anything that you want to share around why this is considered should be considered predatory lending?
Yeah. Even when I looked up the definition of like, okay, what is a scam? Like, I know what a scam is, but like a dishonest scheme. And the thing is, if you're not transparent, you're dishonest. If you're not forthcoming, you're dishonest. If you're using language to trick people out of their money, you're dishonest. And so for me,
Mm-hmm.
if you're obtaining money, through evil measures, like I don't know how else to say that. Like if you're obtaining money in an evil way by maybe only giving someone a part of the vision and not the whole vision, then you are a
Mm-hmm.
scammer. It is predatory. And also,
Mm-hmm.
we were 18 years old. For most of us, like there are a lot of people who
Mm-hmm.
go in later. But
Yeah.
at 18 years old, you know nothing about nothing. Like especially not
Mhm.
financially. Especially if you went to public
No.
schools. What do you like? And money
Mm-hmm.
was such a sore topic in my family in general. Like I remember asking my parents for like $20 to go on a field trip, and they being stressed out about it. Like we ain't have it, and so like they prey on people who don't have it. They prey on people who are desperate. They prey on the youth. Like even though we're adults at 18, I was not an adult at 18. I'm so
No.
like I'm still in school.
Mm-mm.
I was still in school signing those papers. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like I
In
need to
high
be
school.
in high
Yeah.
school.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So like if you are there's a
Mm-hmm.
reason why like there are so many people who are stuck, and like we're seeing the fruit of that scam now. Like we were promised something and we weren't given that thing. Yeah, I remember them
Ooh.
telling me
Mm-hmm.
they'll work with us. Like, "Oh yeah, we'll work with you if it's ever too much or whatever." No, they don't. Like, or saying, "Oh, when you graduate and or they'll work with you," is like, "Oh, well, you have to pay $1,200." Well, Susie, I ain't got it, so y'all not getting $1,200 today. I got 20. I got 5 on it. Like, I ain't got much. You know what I'm saying? And so for me,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not delivering something that you promised in the way that you promised, also it is a scam. Because I think yeah, they get us with like technicalities and like, oh, well, technically it says this. Girl, I don't know what that sentence says today at 34 years old, let alone when I was 18 years old. I don't know what, if I need a lawyer present to sign documents, it's giving scam. It's just very scammy.
It
Like,
is.
why is this not in layman's term? Why is this not in language that I would understand as an 18-year-old person graduating from high
Mm-hmm.
school?
Yep.
If you ain't
Yep.
got nothing to hide, don't hide it.
That's true. That's true. Yep. And you brought up a good point. Like even thinking about like signing a huge loan, like a mortgage or something, you have people present to walk you through the terms. This was through an
Yes.
online portal. I was signing
Yes.
$25,000 loans from an online portal, right? And that's it. And then it was deposited to my account
Whew.
once the tuition balance was taken out. I got my
You just
refund check.
you just
That's
took me
it.
back. But yes, ain't no papers. It was, oh, Alicia last name. Like,
That's
yes,
it.
yes.
Oh my God. That is so, oh my God.
That's hilarious. But it's so true.
It's true. It's true.
They want a piece
Government
of
got us some safety
everything.
deals. Like TLC.
Dang. They want a piece of it
The truth in
all.
that. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. That is true. Yeah. Like I said, like I was 18 signing a loan in the amount of a mortgage with no collateral, right? Nobody present but me to get something I should have already been afforded, which is an education. That's it. That's it. Yeah. That's so true. Ooh, that's so true. Okay. I did want to talk about the impact on Black students specifically, and then I'll read some comments after that. Um, but from Brookings Institution, 4 years after graduation, the average Black college graduate owes $52,726 compared to $28,006 for the average white college graduate. What impacts does student debt have on us specifically, right? Going back to Jim Crow debt, anything that you want to share around
Yeah, I when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about a documentary that I watched, and this is kind of like an aside, but it's important to consider. Even when my mom got her degree, not all of her siblings got a degree, right? Like everybody couldn't go. Everybody couldn't,
that?
you know what I'm saying? Like some could only go. And usually, even statistically, like this in this documentary, they were talking about how Black women in general
Mm-hmm.
usually are the ones taking care of their families, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like so not only do you not have generational wealth, but when you do get wealth, that money is shared amongst your family. If somebody falls on hard times, you're the person they call. Like if somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like these kinds of things. So the
Mm-hmm.
extra, there's almost like this extra burden. And I don't want to say it's a burden, even though it's a burden of love. Like people still do things out of love. It still is a burden because you're not only making less money when you get this degree and get a job, you don't have generational wealth to go in and go get the degree. And then also
Mm-hmm.
like you're also taking care of your family and your community, not just your family. Like women keep money circulating in the community.
Mm-hmm.
We're the one paying off, okay, grandmama got the lights off, we got to pay off the lights, like these kinds of things, like we're the ones doing it. And so like there's an extra cost almost to being a Black woman, period. Again, like you're not getting paid as much as everybody else, but then also like you're the one taking care of everything. Oh, sorry. That
Yeah.
was somebody running down the street. But yes, like you're taking care of everything. So we almost have to like work harder to pay back that debt. Like if technically Black women only get 63 cents to every white man's dollar, we're
Mm-hmm.
working we're working however whatever the math is on that times harder. You know what I'm saying? Than white men specifically to be able to even pay back what we took out. But again, like if you have generational wealth, sure, you can ask pop for like a couple grand for school. You know what I'm saying? But like I'm speaking, I guess, like specifically for Black folks. Like for us, like we don't have generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And I also look at some of these schools. So my husband went to University of Maryland College Park. That school
Mm-hmm.
was built by enslaved Africans. And when I think about
Ooh, that.
okay,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
when I think about the fact that we're paying more when our ancestors built that. That's
Mm-hmm.
wild to me. That's a slap in the face. It's disgusting. It's disrespectful. And also, I also don't think that Black folks should be paying for school. Period. But that's another conversation for another day. But like, I think that it's unfair. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just unfair for Black folks and Black women specifically because the burden is on us to carry the community. The burden is on us to care for the community, and that also sets us back financially. Like we take out the
Mm-hmm.
mortgage on the house to help somebody pay for something. You know what I'm saying? We do these things and it sets us back because we're trying to take care of everybody else because it's not like it's not even, I'm not even saying they're doing things that are irresponsible. It's just like we're just at a disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? And so because we care about community, we also suffer by caring for community, you know? So that's just something that I wanted to drop in. But yeah.
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 And like you said, like I didn't even think about that. That's true. A lot of these institutions were built by people who were enslaved.
Yep.
Right. And now we are their descendants.
Yes.
Right. Attending these prestigious private universities, not falling, being pushed into debt traps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. What does that level of trauma?
Like the school that I went to, Towson, didn't allow Black folks to go there till 1954. 1954. Not even 100 years ago. Like 1954. And the fact that we're paying more than everybody else that goes there when we weren't even allowed to step foot on that campus is just a wild concept to me. It's just amazing. But yeah.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, and it's like intentionally set up, right? I even think about like the integration of schools. How was this set up to like put us in a trap because they didn't want us there in the first place?
It's almost like, oh, since you want to come to my school, okay, well, here's the fee. You know what I'm saying? What we do, we figure out a way to get it done, but often it comes at at a cost for us, like not just money, but yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Ooh, that's real. That's real. Black Magic says how Black people need a degree just to gain entry into spaces that have allowed others entry without a degree. Yes. Absolutely.
These what is the word? Not recommendations. These, when it's necessary, these requirements. These requirements like have changed based on how accessible school has become, right? The more accessible school becomes, the more expensive it becomes to keep folks out. So yeah. So like again, we should be grateful that we get to pay. It's a privilege. That's how they it's a privilege to be able to pay this amount of money, to be able to be like, oh, I went to the school and I graduated from this place. No matter what harm you took while you were there, it don't matter. Like you should be grateful. So,
yes. Yep. Because I have on my list, like a lot of us have debt without a degree. Because we're being subjected to harm, trauma from teachers, as you mentioned, being in an institution that never want us there in the first place, we're having to endure it. A lot of us drop out because of this, because of financial constraints. And then we have student debt without the degree.
Yes.
Right. So that also entraps us.
Yeah. And even the school that I went to had a plus minus system. If you, okay, so I'm glad that you didn't, but at Towson, I had to pass all my classes with a B, not a B minus, a B.
Oh, wow.
If I got a B minus, I would have to retake the whole course all over again. And then because in FAFSA's mind, you passed that class. In Towson's mind, you have not. So FAFSA was not trying to give me any money for the classes that I already took because they said, you're finished. You passed the class. But Towson itself had a plus minus system, meaning that if I got an 83 point, I had to retake a class because I literally got like an 82.9. Yes. Expensive. Expensive. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, so stressed. The margin is so thin. Like, it's so thin. So I get why, like, especially if you have programs like that or requirements like that, I get why people drop out. And again, the reason why it took me 9 years to get my degree was because FAFSA wasn't trying to give me no money for a class that I already passed. And I had to actually wait for, I don't know how I got the money, maybe a refund from like tax or something, like a tax refund check. Then I was like, you know what, let me, whatever, we gonna do that. We gonna put the money towards my degree so I can just finish and get it over with. But yeah, like if I didn't get that refund check from the IRS, honey, I would still not be degreed, and that would be fine with me because absolutely not. Yeah. And this also goes into like the villainous characters that my teachers were. Like they enjoyed the suffering and the torment of the students. They enjoyed watching us grovel and like be stressed out and, like, oh, you have a B minus. Sorry, honey, you got to which is like, if you don't like me, why do you want me back in your class? But anyway, but you have a B minus, so it's almost like, yes, I see you coming back. Like, so yeah, so these institutions know what they're doing. It's a cash grab. The plus minus system is just about money. Nothing else but money, because it doesn't make any sense. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's like really shocking. I never heard of a plus minus system. So you couldn't get a B minus.
No.
That was
No.
essentially like failing a class.
Yes. And you have to retake it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Stressed.
Mm-hmm. Those standards, right? Those are not.
Impossible.
Yeah. I was gonna say those are not possible standards to me.
No. No. I
In
retook a
your
lot of
degree.
classes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I see a comment from Sade. Hey,
Hey.
saying what? I never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's awful.
It's
I have
awful.
never in my life.
Me neither. Until I rolled up, I was like, "Excuse me." I'm all pressed. I'm like, "Oh my god," because the thing is, like, C's get degrees. I really don't listen. C's get the degrees. I'm not. I'm not. It's not like, not saying that my work is not important, but this is. I'm not in a program to get my doctorate, like to get my medical degree. You feel me? Like, I'm not going to be operating on people and things like that. Like, I am. It's enough. You feel me? And so, for me, if I work my butt off. Like, that's the thing, that the first time I worked my butt off for this B minus. And I was like, I did that thing. I finished. And then they're just like, oh yeah, no, LOL, just kidding. Like, you have to retake it because you didn't get, I forget whatever the standard was for, maybe it was like 83% and above, maybe 83. But whatever it was, like, I didn't meet the criteria. And I remember going to my counselor and being like, I'm confused why I have to retake this class. And like, oh yeah, well, you have to keep a B. And for me, a B is anything between 80 and 89. Like,
Yeah.
that's always been a B to me. But yeah, no, not in college, apparently. Not in that college, I should say, apparently. So yeah.
Wow.
It was awful. We had a sorry, this is like trigger warning, but like suicide, sorry. But we had a student take their life. Literally in the back, I remember this so I was in my dorm, and there was a parking garage on, like, in the back of my dorm, and we had a person jump off. And and I remember, of course you're like, oh no, like there's like empathy, there's sorrow, but I get it. Like, I don't know what they had going on in their life, but like, if everything is riding on you making, like, if it's literally a thin line between you passing and failing and you being a failure to your family and who knows what else, like, you can't afford it, like all these other things, like, it's just too much. It's too much pressure being put on college students. It's way too much pressure. Like, and so since that experience, I think it changed me, because I realized, oh, this is not a friendly and kind environment. This is not a, they don't actually care about us.
No.
They don't care. And so I think after that, like, I stopped caring so much, like, about school and whatever, because I'm just trying to leave out of here in my right mind. And I didn't, to be quite honest with you, I didn't leave in my right mind. I had a lot of mental health issues after I left school. So it was a terrifying experience. It was a traumatic experience. Yeah. So yeah, college was not fun.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And it's just like the immense pressure, right? The immense pressure that's not human, right? None of these things are human that we're being told to live up to, these standards. And you mentioned something about teachers, like, literally getting joy out of seeing you suffer.
Yes.
Right? That resonated.
Yeah.
That resonated. Because that's what I experienced too.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And just to see that I'm sorry, but it's like another oppressive institution within this oppressive society, right? That, like, finds joy with our pain, right? And what are we being lured into?
Yeah. It's like, when I say, like, college is like a big haze, I mean that. Like, I mean, you're staying up all night. You're sleep deprived. You're hungry. You're malnourished. The food that they have on campus is not nutritional. You're running on fumes. You know what I'm saying? Your teachers are treating you like this is the only thing that matters in your entire life. You have no room for family, friends, connection, nature, a break. And you're pushed so hard. And I remember, like, when my first semester in college, I got my first D in math. Let me tell you something. I'm really good at math. Okay. I was really good at trigonometry, but, like, this teacher, because I didn't do things the way that she wanted me to do them, she failed me, or she gave me a D in that class. And so, like, I think that whole process was like a process of breaking down whatever it's almost like they break you down to build you back
Mm-hmm.
up. Like you're online. And so like you're being hazed by your teachers, your faculty, all the things, right? And then you're told to be prideful about like, oh yeah, I went through hell for this degree. You shouldn't have had to go through hell. You shouldn't have had to experience that. That's you're paying them to learn. Why? Like, I'm paying you to teach me, not to harm me.
Mm-hmm.
And these
Mm-hmm.
people, like, you're getting a check. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the teachers are paid that much. Okay, I get it. But at the same time, like, I'm paying you to teach me, and you just want to harm me. You want to break me. You want to break my confidence. I went into college a
Mm-hmm.
very confident person. I was so confident. Like,
Yeah.
there was nothing I couldn't do. I was bright. I had like all these big dreams, and every year I just felt like they just got smaller and smaller and smaller until I was like nothing. Like I was just like paper thin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had nothing left of me, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is breaking,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's breaking you down. It reminds me of like seasoning, and studying
Yes.
like Black studies in the Caribbean, right? Before a lot of our ancestors were brought to the mainland that we now know as the US, right? They were seasoned in the Caribbean, which means like breaking you down mentally, psychologically, right? To believe that you don't have agency, right? And you're worth nothing. So they can do whatever they want. It's like this is the level of trauma that we are experiencing in a lot of these institutions, right? So thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, yes, I do want to, let's see. Yeah, just mention like the racial wealth gap, right, becomes exacerbated
Mm-hmm.
by this. Within 6 years of starting college, one third of all Black borrowers who had entered repayment defaulted on their loans,
Mm-hmm.
compared to just 13% of their white peers, right? And this is from the Center for American Progress, which I linked in the description section. But this is setting up
Mm-hmm.
a cycle of being unable to build generational wealth. And we
Yes.
know it was never meant for us to build in the first place. Our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
right, were used as currency,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Our
at the
bodies were
founding
the
of
wealth.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, of this country.
Yeah.
And so that has to be said. Yeah.
It's so interesting, even saying like our bodies were the wealth. Oh, it's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking
Hmm.
because so many people made money off of our bodies. And then
Yeah.
when we were freed, we had nothing. Like we didn't even
Hmm.
have, you know what I'm saying? We didn't even have what our bodies were worth on the ledger. I just think about
Ooh.
how awful, how disgusting and harmful that is. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And just like the very foundation of financial institutions,
Mm-hmm.
our
Mm-hmm.
ancestors' bodies,
Yes. Yes.
our ancestors' bodies.
Mm.
Hmm. Hmm. It really is that evil.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important to keep in mind when we enter these institutions, right? To have that radical acceptance of what you're entering into. Because I
Yes.
was caught off guard. No one told
Yes.
me any of this. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
I'm having to experience this along the way,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in high school, you leave high school being, if you had good teachers, you leave high school feeling empowered and feeling like, oh, I'm so proud of you and all these different things. And then when you get to college, that's what we're talking about. When you get to college, it's almost like you're on your own. Too bad. Look to your left and to your right. Who's with you is not going to be. Why are we celebrating this? Like, why are we celebrating one, people not being able to afford college, and then also like people struggling and you not helping them? Like it was communicated to us that our teachers are not here to hold our hands. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
and I'm
Mhm.
like, but what am I paying you for? I went to school for free. My mom was paying taxes so that a teacher can teach me, and I'm paying you out of pocket, out of money I don't
Mhm.
have to teach me, and
Mhm.
you're telling me that like you're not like your priority is not me. Like your priority is not the students that you're teaching. Then why are you here? Then what is this? What is this
Right.
institution if not to help the people that are enrolled here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
what is this business? What is this business model? Because it's not adding up.
What am I getting as the customer?
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yes. So,
Harmed.
yes, harmed. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
brings me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is opening up
Same.
new things I had forgotten about. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
because it was an intentional cruelty,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
levied against us
Yeah.
in these institutions. And yeah, they took pride in it.
Yeah. Yes.
They took pride in it. I think I shared on my channel, like my teacher when I was in the business school, and my great grandma had just passed away. She
Mm-hmm.
took pride in being like, I don't care if you forgot your book for the test, right? Intentionally ignoring me.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the trauma that we're continuing to experience in these situations that are inhuman, this is not human.
No, it's not. It's evil.
Hmm. Hmm. It is. It is. I was gonna read some comments, y'all. Thank y'all so much for sharing your stories too.
Yes.
Scroll back up. Hey, Marissa says, yes, the part that upsets me is you're forced to commit to all this debt before you even get to experience these careers. We're paying $100,000.
Speak. Speak.
We're supposed to know
Exactly.
exactly what we want to do for the rest of our lives at 18,
Yeah.
right? And if you deviate from that, too bad.
Yeah.
You're already on the path and you're like stuck there.
Hmm.
Or else you have to start over again in a lot of
Yeah.
these degree
Yes.
programs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Even the how I said it took me 9 years to graduate. The shame of that, of not finishing my degree in 4 years. The shame of, my mom saying, "Oh, such and such is wondering when you're going to graduate." I'm like, I don't know. Like, like I have no idea. And like you said, halfway through I was thinking about dropping out of school. And like I finished because I was like, I don't want to be ashamed to my family. I don't want to be I don't want I don't want to let my family down, like and there's like you said at 18, I am not I am the same person as far as like personality, but I am not the same person I was at 18. I know so much more now. I know more about myself. When you think about it, like for 12 years you're in school and you
Right.
don't really get to be yourself. You have to be who
No.
they want you to be. And so at 18, when you go to college, you finally discover like, oh, I have so many options. Like, I didn't know that
Hmm.
this was even possible. Or you don't know what you don't know. And then halfway through, you're like, actually, I want to move and pivot. But like you said, financially, you can't because, okay, if
Hmm.
you going to take out more loans, you going to stay here for longer. Like, yeah, it's just, it's unrealistic to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life at 18 years
Hmm.
old.
Yeah, it is. And to take
Yeah.
out a commitment like a loan, right?
Yes.
Loans in the amount of like $100,000. Now you're pretty much like
Yeah.
in this. Like I didn't
Yes.
even know that
No.
I came into like finance, right? That's what I business.
Hmm. Hmm.
And like throughout that, I'm like, I don't think this is it. But I was already too far in. I'm like, dang, I
Yeah.
just got to continue with this,
Yeah.
and that's intentional too,
It is. It
right?
is.
Yeah, that's real. That is real. Tell says, I love hearing you ladies speak about things like
Aw,
this. Thank you both. Oh, thank
thank you.
you.
Yes.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
listening.
Yes. Black women are so brilliant. I love that so many of us, not including me, earn degrees. I'm
Oh.
thoroughly proud of us. I dream all the more that droves of us would be free of the debt attached.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud of you. Like,
Yeah.
yes. Proud of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I do want to talk about forgiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Policy changes
Mm-hmm.
that you would recommend about student loan debt. The SAVE program has lowered some of our payments. If you have chosen to consolidate, if you have public student loan debt, if you've chosen to consolidate that and then enroll in the SAVE program,
Mm-hmm.
it has lowered payments for a lot of us. But
Mm-hmm.
this is also in limbo
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
courts currently. So any like policy changes that you would suggest?
I mean,
Marissa?
forgive the debt. Like
That's it.
that, like, forgive the debt, put
Yeah.
restrictions on these
Yeah.
schools for how much
Hmm.
they charge the students. There should be a cap.
Yeah.
Because they're literally just price gouging. It literally when I'm thinking about, I literally drove. This is like a few years ago. I drove past Towson University. That's the school I went
Yeah.
to, and I drove past the school, and they had all these new, all these new facilities, and new. I'm like, I paid for that. That's my money. Like I paid for these things, and like what I am realizing is that we were just, oh, of course. Even if you don't have letters behind your name, I'm proud of you.
Hmm.
That don't
Hmm.
matter. Like,
Not at all.
to be
Believe me.
honest,
No.
yes.
Hmm.
I'm proud of everyone who has a degree. Don't get me wrong. I
Hmm.
think that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. I do not care if you have a degree. You are alive right now. You're here. You're doing the daggone thing. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Period. Period. Like, that is not a requirement at all. Like, this is extra.
Not
This
at
is extra.
all.
You know what I'm saying? So yes, but no, I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying? Sorry, that was me.
Yeah,
Um,
policy
oh
changes.
yes, yes,
Forgive the
yes,
debt.
yes. Forgive the
Mm-hmm.
debt. So going
Forgive.
these school forgive,
Mm-hmm.
right? And again,
Mm-hmm.
that language is
Mm-hmm.
not forgive. It's justice. Do what is just
That's
and
it.
do what is
Mm-hmm.
right, right? Like I did nothing wrong by taking out a loan. You all made
Mm-hmm.
college so unaffordable, like that I had to take out a loan. That's you.
Yeah.
Like you all are not studying your market. In any business, they will tell you if people
Ooh.
can't afford your product, it is overpriced.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, colleges and universities get away with it, right? And it's like, oh, it's fine. This is the standard. No, they're thieves. These
Wow.
colleges
Yeah.
are thieves. And
Mm-hmm.
these colleges buy up property. I don't even these colleges buy up property in
Ooh.
towns and
Yes,
neighborhoods,
they
like
do.
buying
Mm-hmm.
up grandmama in them house, don't give nothing back to the community, take everything from it, put up gates and
Mm-hmm.
guards, tell you that you can't
Mm-hmm.
go here anymore. They're colonizing. They're colonizing communities and using our money to fund that, to fund the destruction of those communities. And so for me,
Mm-hmm.
this is like a justice issue beyond just like student loans. It's like, what are you using that money to do? You see what I'm saying? Like you're using that money to destroy people. And so for me, there is enough, right? There is enough. To be fair, I don't think my degree was worth any amount of money that I paid. I'm sorry. Like I think there are great things like beautiful gowns. There are great things that I got from college. There are great things that I got from college, like the community, some friends that I still talk
Mm-hmm.
to. But 70K worth? No. Nothing that
70K.
I ever got from college was ever worth that amount of money. Nothing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if anything, that y'all owe me reparations. Okay. My mental health was not intact when I left. My well-being, my physical health was not intact when I left. And so for me, I'm just like, I'm not interested in these colleges again that use slave labor to be built, that left people
Mm-hmm.
out until like again my school 1954, that didn't allow black folks to come there, and it's so deeply ingrained. So Towson again is in Baltimore County, right? When you come into Towson University, if you are a person of color,
Mm-hmm.
you are automatically put into like this mentorship program because
What?
they
Okay.
because they know that their campus is racist. They know that we had a hard time acclimating, I guess, like getting, acclimating to like the school culture and things like that. So they had like this mentorship program where I guess they felt like, oh, this is us helping you to like there's a lot of assumptions here, right? But like
Oh, just
yeah,
automatically, you're in a mentorship program.
automatically we
Mm,
know
okay.
I was gonna say something. We know you coloreds need help. Like that's what it was
Hmm.
giving, right? And so
It's
like for
true.
me
Hmm.
for me, like as I look back on that, I'm like, wow, that's actually awful. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so I wish that I could see with my eyes
Hmm.
now. Back then, like, oh yeah, cool, I get to hang out with black folks. Wonderful. Like that's who I was gonna hang out with anyway. But no, like they're already telling us that they already think that we are subpar. That we these
Hmm.
are that these are pity acceptance letters, right? Like you should be grateful. And so that literally
Hmm.
set the tone for my experience at that school. Like I again going to school in PG County is mostly black. So like at the school itself, that was the first time that like I ever like witnessed racist things, like people writing the N-word on people's dorm rooms. And
Yep.
I was just like,
Hmm.
wow, like this is the stuff that you read about or like you hear about from your parents. I'm like, wow, this is
Yep.
alive and well in Baltimore of all places, right? Which is north of
Hmm.
me. So like I'm thinking like, oh yeah, it's progressive. No, it's not. So yeah, so I think it wasn't worth it. I think there need to be more things in place to they just gonna have to suck salt. Reparations. I think college should be free for black folks. I think for black women, for you have to do that work. And then yes, so put a cap. I think college should also not be as expensive as it is. Forgive the debt. Um, yeah. That's all the
Hmm.
policy I got. Forgive the debt so we can actually be beneficial to society. Stop talking down on millennials and Gen Z and whomever else, right? We
Hmm.
ain't got it. We don't
Hmm.
have it. And a big reason
Hmm.
why we don't have it is because we have student loan debt. We can't do anything else. My student loan payment is a whole mortgage.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like the 1,200 that I was paying was only interest. Was only interest. I haven't even touched my principal. Like,
Hmm.
Haven't even touched it. And for me, it's like, if you want us to be beneficial, if you want us to like be able to give back to community, keep money in circulation, stop hoarding it, stop putting people in debt. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just, to me, it's just a very easy fix, but it's very obviously, like, it's very obvious to me that they need people in debt. The reason why it's not getting fixed is because they need us to feel disempowered. They need us to feel like we have no options. They need us to feel like this is all we can afford to do. This is all we, this is the only way out. So they're not gonna listen to me, but that's my recommendations.
That's true. Yeah, but we have power collectively, right? The more of us who like, I think that's part of healing from shame too. The more that we share our stories, it's like, oh, we see the connection points. Yes, and then we realize there's a system at play. Because the more that they isolate us, and we feel like we're by ourselves, we feel like disempowered. Right, and this is an issue that is harming us deeply, traumatizing us. Yeah, and I do want to mention like income-driven repayment. So this can reduce your payments to $0, but you still have the balance there, right? So it was referred to as a lifetime debt sentence in the article that I quoted from in the description section. 1/3 of Black borrowers with a bachelor's degree use IDR, right? Having a lifetime debt sentence. Yeah. The balance doesn't go anywhere. Yeah.
I use that. So...
Me too.
I'm like, I don't know what to tell y'all. Sorry. Like, even when we're talking about defaulting on loans, here's like, I'm not ashamed of it anymore. My loans have been in defaults for years. Okay. I literally cannot. And what I offer to pay, they don't want. So I literally was on the phone with a collector, and I was like, I don't have $1,200, which is just like, again, the interest, but I have like, I can do like 100 today. Like, oh, well, that's not enough. Okay, well, then you're not getting no money. I literally had to tell them there was a time. Yeah, there was a time where I didn't have anywhere to live. I was living with my mother. So, okay, this is the whole thing. So me and my husband were RVing before the pandemic hit. The pandemic hit, we had to stop RVing, and we were living in our parents' house. Like, so we lived with his parents in North Carolina. I lived with my mom in Maryland. Like, and so I didn't have nowhere to live. I was unhoused, and I'm telling them I'm unhoused, right? Like I'm in a house, but I don't have a house myself. Like, so, and I don't have any income coming in because it's a pandemic. Like everything's at a stop. They didn't want to take that as an answer. They didn't even consider that. Like the I'm trying to figure out what I can say on this platform. But yeah, like during the pandemic, like it was like, what are we doing? You're calling me about student loan debt, honey. I don't even know how this virus is being transferred from one person to the next. Trying to survive, and you're calling me about student loans like I care. No, like I care. No. And so I think at that point I was like, you know what? When I got over the shame and guilt that I felt from the people who would call me, I think I was just like, you know what? You don't care about me, so I honestly don't care about y'all. If I pass away without paying this debt, okay. Girl, whatever. Like, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no. And it's like the only debt that's not canceled with bankruptcy.
Yes.
Right? So that's another thing.
Because I definitely looked into it.
Deep. It literally is a lifetime debt until you pass away.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
If y'all want to hold on to it, that's y'all business. But like, that's how I feel. Okay.
Yeah. And one of the quotes in the articles I read is, it feels like shackles, right? It feels like shackles because you have this debt attached to you throughout your whole life that you took out at 18 for a lot of us to, again, have an education. That's it. That's it. Something that should have been afforded to us.
Yeah. And I literally told them, I was like, because people see debt as like they use that to judge your character. Like if you're somehow in debt, like they call you irresponsible or, uncaring or careless or whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, I was ignorant at 18. I make room for that. But like, where is the grace for that? For being 18 and not knowing what you're doing and literally just following the steps that my elders told me to take, right? Or the people who also change the rules and telling you, yeah, sign up for college and Sally Mae, oh, we care about you. We want you to get this No, you don't. You don't care about me.
Oh.
And so like I had to unlearn, like I said, that shame. Yes. Oh, hi, Murder Magic Checks. Yes. It shackles you to this country. Yes, absolutely. And I had to unlearn that shame of like we are not kind to victims in this country, in the West, period. We don't like victims. We don't treat them well. People who are done wrong. What were you wearing? Why would you do that? Why didn't you know any better? Like these kinds of things are said, and it's like, it's not helpful, number one. But then number two, it's also just like callous and cold, because like we're not holding the people responsible who are in charge of these of this happening, right? Like a lot of people are in debt because of their evil behavior. And so if we can refocus that, and I had to learn to do that myself, even when people want to direct that at me, like to like almost like holding a mirror, like shining the beam elsewhere. Like, no, these are these evil people. Because the thing is, I was like, my character is not in question because I'm a good person. Number one, I'm a good person and I mean people well. The thing is, I just don't have it. Where do you want me to like where is this money coming from? Like all this, like when I graduated again, the first job I was getting paid was $7.25 an hour. There's no way I will ever, on that salary, ever be able to pay back $70,000+ of student loan debt, especially when you're adding interest to it. I can never catch up. I can never keep up. And so I have to literally give myself grace and be like, this is not your fault. Yes. You were harmed. You were done wrong. You were on purpose kept ignorant. And you're doing the best that you can with what you got. And that's all you can do, is do the best you can with what you got. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And that's helpful for a lot of us who are still carrying shame around this. Like, we should have done this, shouldn't have gone to this school. It's like, we're set up for this. We're set up for this. So the more that you can like externalize that shame that you're experiencing, right? You're surviving in oppressive systems that are trying to trap you at every turn.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But I did want to ask what advice you would give to someone about to enter college regarding student loans now that you're at this point in life.
Yeah. My first, of course, don't do it. That's my first. That's my first advice. Don't, by any means necessary, do not do it. There is okay. I understand using debt. Okay. I understand using debt to get what you need. I understand it because that's the world we live in. Nobody has 50 grand just sitting around. Nobody has, even for a home, $500,000 just sitting around, like, or a car. Nobody has like 30 grand at this point. The cars are going up too. Like, nobody has that money. And so understand that you might need to leverage debt later on for stuff that you actually like need. And I would hate for your student loans to be there, like it was for me, stopping you from being able to use the debt that you might need to use in the future, right? Because the thing is, ideally, yes, you want to live a life with no debt, but sadly, it's kind of unrealistic here. You know what I'm saying? Like everything runs on debt. So in my mind, don't do it. Stay away from the good debt as much as you possibly can. Yes, don't do it. Don't do it. If you can, not do it. I would also say, take a gap year.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Take a gap year. Like, take a gap year. Go find yourself, whatever that means. Like, if you can, like, get a job, like just have a job to support you for what you really need, so that you can actually figure out who you are. Number one, removed from the schooling system. Because literally I went kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third, fourth, fifth, to 12th, college, year 1, year 2, year 3, 9 years. Like, I was in school for a long time, 21 years, 21 years. And so like, I didn't know myself. I started to find myself, so to speak, in college. You know what I'm saying? And so that first year of exploring things, like actually having preferences that I can, because when you're a kid, nobody's really asking you what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So give yourself a year to figure out what you want to do, who you are. You're not behind. You know what I'm saying? Like, this pressure to have it all together is like, no. Like, give yourself a break, give yourself room to be human, and then maybe realize, actually, I don't even want to go to school. I want to do like an apprenticeship somewhere, or I don't know, I want to learn how to blow glass. I don't know. I'm just picking stuff out the air, but like, you know,
Yeah.
this is not, college is not all there is. It's great. It's wonderful, wonderful to have the degree. I celebrate all the people getting the degree. And also, there are other routes to go.
Yeah.
And I also feel like we're living in a time now where we're not necessarily looking down on people who don't go to college anymore. I think back in 2008,
That's
when I was
true.
going into school, there was like people who didn't go to college were looked down on. We didn't even talk about trades. We didn't talk about like all these other options. Had I known about trades, I might have become a welder. Like I might have been a carpenter. Like, because I do like doing things with my hands, but I never knew that was an option for me. So like, yeah, just giving yourself some grace and some time to take a breath, to digest everything you just experienced, and also listen to your friends. Listen to your friends if they go to college. Listen to their gripes. Ask them about all the nitty gritty stuff. It's cute to have the college degree. It's cute to be in college. It's cute to go online and cross with a jacket. It's cute. But what is the real cost? And are you willing to pay it? It's not just money, time, resources, energy. Okay? What is the real cost? And I also understand like the pressure of not wanting to let your friends and family down, because I felt like I was like, all my friends and family were like, oh, what school are you going to? Like, it's such this buzzy thing. You have no time to really think of it in a sober way. So you're kind of like being pressured and pushed in a direction. I would love for you to be able to sit still for a second and figure out which direction you actually want to go. So yes, I said, don't do it, find an alternative. But if you do it, right, think about it wisely. College, community college is an option. You're allowed. You're allowed. You're allowed to go to community college. You're not less than for going to community college. And then also in community college, you also get to pay less and explore more things. There's less risk, I should say. There's less risk for you to explore certain things. But you can also just go to your local, like here we have like community centers where they put on classes and things like that. Do something like that. Like if you're interested in learning a language, maybe you don't have to major in Spanish right now. Maybe you can go take a Spanish class.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like, get in the community. You know what I'm saying? So
I was going to say, I started off with a Spanish minor in
yes.
undergraduate, right?
Okay.
And it was horrible.
It was
The
horrible.
language programs at the school that I went to were
yeah.
horrible. And now I'm
Yeah.
learning Spanish like organically,
Yes. Yes.
right? So give yourself time and unlearn legitimacy, please.
Because the best way to learn a language is immersion. It is the best way to learn, and not because you're not just learning the language, you're also learning the culture, right? Like the Spanish. So I took a Spanish class too. I took like Spanish like 102 or something. It kicked my butt. The professor was also,
Horrible.
yeah, it was like, because I love Spanish. I was doing really good in high school. I thought I was doing something. And, and I got to class in college and I was like, this is actually awful. Like the way that they teach it is so cold and so like robotic. And it was also like it was also like Spanish, like Spain, like as opposed to like I'm talking about like usted and like all these different things, instead of like, like I'm actually in a community with a lot of folks from El Salvador. Like I should probably, if I plan on being an interpreter, for example, like Spanish interpreter, then like maybe I should learn from the people in this community, the people that I'm actually going to serve. There are even for my deaf studies degree, I could have just hung out on Gallaudet's campus. I could have went to their deaf events. I could have, but I didn't know that was legitimate. And of course, at this point, you need a degree to, be an interpreter. But before then, before I knew those requirements, I wish that I would have known that these other options were available. So yeah, take your time. Life is long. Life is the longest thing you do in life, and you're always learning. I love learning, and now I'm learning things that are not, have nothing to do with college, and I love that for me. So yeah.
And it doesn't have to
just
be
think about
like
it
in
wisely.
an institution.
Yes, no.
Absolutely.
And even that word institution is so triggering to me. Like it's just like I think about like people being institutionalized and how sanitary, like just like so cold and distant and like uncaring and unkind it is. Be in the community. Get around people who are passionate about what you're passionate about. They have connections. Community is your greatest asset. Period. So yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
Sorry.
And a lot of the times in these private institutions, right, they're in the middle of a community. Going to St. Louis University, right, it's in the middle of a community, right? But yet it boxes out the community members and brings in other people, right? That look a certain way, that don't look like the community, to give them the resources of the university, right? While they're walling out people all around them.
Yes.
And the effects that that has on us as Black students, because it's like I'm within these gates, but I'm looking out, it's like people that look like me are outside the gates.
Yes. Yes. Have you,
Mhm.
okay. So being that you were in North Carolina, do you know where High Point University is?
I don't. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, it's in High Point University is in High Point, North Carolina. But like
Gotcha.
they're like a, I think they're a private institution and they're like gated and all this other stuff. And we have family that lives there. And
Mm-hmm.
so they've been buying up all the properties in that area and turning them into like either housing or like just like owning it and putting up the gates, like putting up actual like gates so that the community who live there can't actually
Right.
access it. So like so that to me is like if you're gonna be and the thing is like they promote themselves as being community minded, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not. They just take from the
Mm-hmm.
community. That's it. The people in the community work there. The people in the community like you know,
That
but
sounds
they
familiar. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
actually they're not actually respected and they actually don't have access to all the things that we have access to. So yeah, there's a lot of these people are again just I don't know what else they're colonizers. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this is an institution of learning and it's not I don't whatever. It's not like it's a it's an institution that mirrors again enslavement, colonization, all these different things and you leave like with access to certain things, but I really don't think that we think about that like how the community is like we put on an event at school trying to raise awareness about folks that are unhoused like on campus and so because we're on campus you're kind of like insulated from like the real world so to speak like
Yeah, that's true.
you're
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what's going on but we had people who were unhoused in school like they're here in class with you like
Yes.
the real
Mm.
world is happening
Mm-hmm.
right next to
Mm.
you feel me
Mm-hmm.
but there's no awareness about it there's no conversations around it we don't talk about it and you almost have to show up in this space as if you are elite it's almost like the reason why we feel so much imposter syndrome is okay they make us feel like we don't deserve to be there but then like you can't even be your whole human self and also be struggling right you have to come across as like well put together and all this other stuff and I'm like this school is actually teaching us to become callous and to care less about people like the more that I feel like I was like we actually don't care anything about people we're getting these degrees to serve when we don't even care about the communities that we're in we give nothing
Mm-hmm.
back we like so yeah I have personal gripes with college in general and universities in general because I just feel like it's just gentrification it's just
It is.
eating
Mm-hmm.
up resources and keeping the
Mm-hmm.
people out, taking their homes and saying, "LOL, we took your home, but you can't come here. Sorry." You know?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
evil. Yeah.
It becomes like a real estate company. Like I think you mentioned this about McDonald's on your past
Yes.
live stream, right? So it's not just an educational institution. Now it has a real estate arm because we know that universities have like multiple things under the bigger umbrella and they're buying up properties in the surrounding community. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And just like thinking about in graduate school, there was
Mm-hmm.
a food pantry set
Mm-hmm.
up. I was in graduate school for social work at one of the top social work universities in the country, right? And there was a food pantry set up for graduate students,
Shame.
right? Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
yeah. A lot of them were research assistants who could not afford food with the wages that they were making, right? In a social work university where we're studying these issues.
The irony is wild. Like the
Yeah.
irony that they missed. It's like, excuse me?
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's a lot. It's a
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
And yes, also the marketing that you mentioned, right? The
Mm-hmm.
marketing of this is like greater good, right?
Yep.
You're here to serve other people. That's the purpose for attending the university. And then we see how it functions from the inside,
Yes.
right? And the cognitive dissonance that that creates. Because
Yes.
you may have come in like really interested in this mission, and then you see it playing out, and
Yeah.
you see how you're harmed,
Mm-hmm.
you see how the community is being harmed,
Mm-hmm.
how service workers are being harmed,
Yes.
right? Left
Yeah.
and right. And it's like, dang,
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
got bamboozled. But to
Yes.
take that shame off of yourself because it's an institution.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when you talk about the service workers, I made friends
Yeah.
with a lot of the service workers at my school. I made friends with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them. Like we would be hanging out after they got off of work or whatever. Like we knew these people by name. They were people in the
Mm-hmm.
community. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
to me, I'm just like, if they're working here, they should be able to go here for free. They're helping your camp. They're helping your college maintain the appeal. They're feeding your students. They're doing all this work, and like y'all couldn't care less about them. They make a minimum wage, like, and they don't get any discounts to go there. And I was just like talking to them, like learning about this, because I'm thinking like, oh, if you work for a school, surely, surely you should be able to attend, school for free. And they're like, no, yeah, no, we make our checks and we go home. It's awful, like
It is.
using and
It
discarding
is.
people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you see the folks in power, in positions of power, in the office positions,
Yes.
right? And they're getting free tuition for their
Yes.
students to continue the legacy.
And a pretty
Mm-hmm.
paycheck, getting paid
Mm-hmm.
very well.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Gonna go back and read the comments.
Yay.
Rabia says, I completely dissociated. Yes. Throughout my college application process. Me too. Me too. That was so stressful,
Yes.
right? Having to make sure everything was correct, pay the fees. That's another thing that keeps access as an issue. The
Scam.
application fees to apply to these universities. Then you have to like make sure all the requirements are met. You have to write the essays again, telling people your traumatic life stories to ask for admission. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to be like, y'all gonna give me the money or nah? Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm tired. But yeah, I get
Yes.
it. It's too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Just reading through this. Daisy says, I just got an email from my grad school. Email said, in order to get your degree, you have to pay $60 and fill out an application. I'm like, wait, you already getting money for my loans? Like, what? Yeah. Fees coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, no.
Like you said, lab fees. On top of tuition, what is the tuition for?
What is that?
Right? There's a lack of transparency. The more I think
Yes.
about it, in the fees that we're being charged, because we're just supposed to be so lucky
Yeah. Yeah.
to be there.
You're blessed. Consider yourself consider yourself blessed.
True.
Because the thing is, like, the teachers are not getting paid that much money. They're not. They're struggling just like us. So, like, what's going on? Yes. Yes.
Yep. I did too. Yep. Started as a Spanish minor. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Marcia says colonizing education is wild. Yeah.
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 It is.
And hi, Marcia.
It is. Thank y'all so much for the comments. There's a lot. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through.
Oh, no, you're okay.
Let's see. SP says, how can we collectively help each other after these conversations? Is there something we can do collectively with the little capital that we have? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that comes to mind?
You know, I'm always down to tear down a system, but like, I think, and this is obviously like ideal, but I think, I love the fact that back in the day that there was an option, to learn, to study under someone, for things that you don't necessarily need like a degree for. Again, I'm not talking about like being a doctor. Like, I think that's a whole different, I don't know nothing about that. Okay. But I'm talking about like, things that are still necessary, but you can learning from someone else. I think there's beauty in community, because like for people who already went and got it, like they can pour down what they have learned from these institutions and share them. And that's what a lot of people are doing. Like again, I mentioned Rachel Cargo earlier, like Unlearning, like how she's, we're learning together. We're learning collectively about something. So maybe instead of getting a degree in, I don't know, getting a degree in history, for example, maybe we can learn history together. Like there are books and things like that. We can also start our own education things, like whatever, like communities, whatever you want to call them, where we are sharing information and knowledge. But as far as like college goes, I think it'll be really hard to take down institutions if we're not together on taking them down. We can we can show them better than we can say, you know what I mean? But we have to be, we have to be all committed to the same vision, but we also have to be okay with taking care of each other, because that's also a cost. Like we can be,
Sure.
you know, we can be radical all day long, but if we're not caring for the folk, then like we can't get nothing done. So like I think that there has to be a plan set in place. I don't have one right now, but I do have ideas, like sharing knowledge, not gatekeeping certain things. If you have, I know that there's some people who, you know, if they are a professor somewhere, they might pull some strings to get someone into something, or pull, if they work in the bursar's office, or like that word itself is triggering, the bursar's office. But if they work at like certain things like that, also pooling money together. If people want to go to college, I don't understand. Okay, I understand because we ain't got money. But I feel like we can, if we wanted to, we can pull money together. Oh no, Marissa, are you there? Okay, yes, okay. We can pull money together to help. Okay, sorry. But we can pull money together to help individuals go to college and afford it. I think about like back in the day, like communities would get together and be like, oh, such and such is going to school. Okay, cool. Like somebody is, you know, giving money for lunch, or somebody is like, you know, watching somebody's kids, like certain things like this. Like I think that there are communal things that we can do, but we have to be a community to do it. We have to be okay with giving a little bit, because I know everybody's struggling to get it, but we have to be okay to give what we do have. Because even though what we have, it looks little, when we put it together, it's a lot. When we put all the things that we have together, it's a lot actually. And so I think we can get a lot done. So yeah. But ideally, yeah, I would love to just be like, forget these schools. Let's do our own thing. Let's create our own system. Because I think about, and I'm not, listen, I didn't go to an HBCU. I respect it. I see y'all, right? But I look at HBCUs and it frustrates me. So Howard is here. And so I was considering going to Howard, and then I saw how much it cost. And I was very confused because, I mean, it's in DC. So it's, you know, it's in the district. But like I was very confused because I'm like, okay, you all are serving Black folks. Why is this school more expensive than all the other schools? Like I'm not understanding if this school is made for the people who don't actually get as much money as everybody else. Why is it more expensive than all those other schools, right? And so maybe there could be a conversation had with the HBCUs. I don't know. I know that they're struggling. I know, but somehow students are paying 50 grand and they're still struggling. I don't understand. Okay.
It's true.
I don't get it. It's not making sense to me. Like I remember sitting at at Howard, at the administration building on Howard's campus, and like with the sorority sisters at the time, where like, you know, they're paying up their dues, they're trying to get housing and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, y'all pay too much money to be suffering and struggling like this. This is a mismanagement of funds. Let's be so serious. This is a mismanagement of funds. People, like, I know that you're getting funding, but also like, how are they supposed to survive and go here and learn? I don't know. Again, maybe I'm out of my league at this point, but like, yeah, I just think that there are some things that we can do to get creative to make it better. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Marsha says apprenticeship.
Yes. Yes. I wish we can bring that back.
Yes.
Yay, hi.
Murder Magic Trick says that's a system we used to have. Whatever your parents were is what you were.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Nate says, yeah, we need our own country. Wow, to be able to fully divest from this, we need our own infrastructure. Yeah.
Okay, we need to be like a sovereign nation. Exactly.
Yeah. These are systemic issues.
Yes.
Michelle says, sounds so familiar. I lost so much weight from stress in college, working and taking classes, not wanting to be a failure and drop out. Yeah, the health issues, the physical health issues, right? Stomach issues, severe stomach issues from the stresses I was experiencing in finance classes, right? Being the only Black person in my classes all the time. That's stressful.
It is stressful.
That's stressful. Yeah.
It is. That was the first experience I had of being the only Black person in my class. In one of my, and I was like, this, okay. You know, like I had a teacher ask me about Black slang. It was a linguistics class. Wow. And they were like, oh yeah, you know, like that's how you all, and I'm like, I don't represent all Black people, first of all. Like, let's not do this. Also, like, yes, we have our own dialect, and it's also regional. Like there are different anyway, like talking about like learning about language, like there are different registers. Okay. So like how I talk in a class, right, is not how I'm talking with my homegirls at home. Like that's not like, so you trying to tap into something that is very sacred to me to try to use this as information for your teaching class, which shows that you're just unprepared, is not my responsibility. Like you don't get to mind me. Like you're not calling out Susie over here for how she talks, the register she speaks with in with her family and her friends. So why are you why do you find that appropriate to ask me? Like, no, I'm here to learn from you. You will not mind me of my Black experience because you lack understanding and knowledge. Like almost like looking to you to be the shortcut. I never experienced anything like that before in my life. Like, girl, put me on payroll. Like what are we doing? But yeah, like even having to like in a language class, that's another but having to legitimize AAVE or Ebonics or whatever you want to call it, right? Like having to explain to white people how I talk to my friends and like what that means, and like you know, using double negative, for example, like we ain't got no, or you know, dropping certain things or whatever, like trying to make it make sense as an example. It was so inappropriate. So yeah, sorry, just like like all that trauma of like being the only Black person in the class that can give language for something is a lot of stress and pressure, because you're then you feel like you're representing all of us, and I feel like I have to do well because I'm representing all of us. It's a burden that no other culture probably carries. Like I have to be a good Black person because I'm representing how this person thinks of me is how they're going to think of all Black people. You know, like that pressure. And that was never mine anyway. The freedom in being like, you know what, I could be an awful person and that means nothing about Black people. I could be awful. I could be an awful student. It means nothing. It means nothing about Black people.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah.
That is true. Yeah. The trauma of that. Yeah, being the only Black person at predominantly white institutions, right?
Yes.
And the stress that causes our bodies, right? That's weathering. Every day that we have to enter into these environments, it's weathering. And so we're experiencing the ramifications after we graduate. It's like, oh my God, I just went through so much trauma. But I was in survival mode trying to get through, right? Because not getting my degree was not an option. Like I had to make this work.
Yeah.
Right. At any cost.
Yeah.
And I paid the cost.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hefty cost. It's a hefty cost. I will say also, like, to Michelle, like, I feel you, because there was the first, you know how they say like the freshman 15, I didn't gain 15 pounds. Okay. I did lose weight. And I think, you know, people like stress eat and things like that. But like, I was stressing, I wasn't sleeping. And it was some more advice that I would give is, if you don't know it by 10 p.m., get in bed, try again tomorrow. If you like, because when I tell you, I said at one time, I did like an all-nighter study session. The next day I got sick. I got a cold. It was a mess. Okay. It was a mess. And so my body literally was like, girl, we're not made for this. We're not made to stay up. We're not made to stay up all hours of the night and stressing, not staying up at night having fun. Like you're stressing your body, and your body needs sleep, and it needs sleep to retain the information too and to process the information. And so now, like, I remember, like, I took the test. I don't even think I did that well. It is what it is. But basically, like, I was like, if I fail this test, oh well, too bad. Like, I'm still gonna have my health intact. Like, I don't believe in I'm sorry, I'm looking at these comments and I'm cracking up.
I'm up here. Let me see.
I am so sorry.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
That is hilarious. But yes. Oh my gosh. But yes, right? Like, no, I'm not for the what? And then Murder Magic Tricks, please teach us how to Dougie, please.
Oh my God.
But for real, like you're an exhibit, like a music, like whatever. So yes, but no. But I'm sorry, that distracted me, but that was so funny. But yes, like, forget that institution. Forget it. Like, you are a sovereign, holy being. The degree is great. The access it gives you is great. But if you don't come out well, what is all of it for? If you're not well, what's the point? What's the point? And for me, if it takes you more than 4 years to get your degree, if you drop out and come back and drop out again and it takes you 25, you take as much time as you need to so that you can be well. Like, they're already taking your money. They already price gouging you. They don't need to take your health either. Like, that's too much. It's too much. So yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like we're being taught to deny our basic needs.
Yes.
Right? Living necessities during this college experience. Like you said, don't sleep because you got a test to study for. And you also got 5 papers to write.
Yep.
Right? So sleep is not an option. Yes. You can't eat well because they're not serving you like nutritious foods in the cafeteria. Right? And you probably can't afford them anyway.
That part. Yep.
Yeah. It's the stress of grades, of trying to maintain a GPA, right? If you want to go into graduate school, that's a whole other thing. The threshold of GPA, if you have a GPA below like 3.0, right? You can't get into grad school now, right? And it doesn't take into account like anything that you experience along the way.
No, it doesn't.
It's real. It's real. Yeah. And even thinking about like toxic workplaces, right? We're set up for this a lot.
Oh, yes.
Throughout school, throughout college, to deny the mistreatment that we're experiencing.
Yes.
And so we learn to gaslight ourselves. Like, this is okay.
Like it, okay. Or at least it's not that bad. Or, you know, it's almost like they traumatize us to be like, well, I worked so hard for this degree. I have to put it to good use. I don't even know what the word is, but it's like, I suffered so much for this. I'll be daggone if I give it up. You know what I mean? Like I've worked my butt off for this thing. And it's just like, you shouldn't have had to, like, even I was journaling. I was like, why I hated college. Cause I was thinking about going live about that and then like leading people here later on. And I probably still will talk about it. But like one of the things that I didn't like was the rush of college. Like the funneling through, leaving students behind. But I think that they move that fast on purpose so that you never have a chance to check in with yourself or catch your breath. Like you never have a chance to be like, to regulate yourself, to actually think and be like, I actually didn't like that. It's like, no, you just got to keep going to the finish line. 4 years, keep going. Take that 6 classes, go. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think, I don't think that's, you know, on accident. I think that's by design. Like, it's like, we're going to traumatize you and never give you enough time to actually process. Cause I remember graduating and I just like cried and I was like, okay. And like, now I'm just supposed to go get a job and be hazed further, right? Like be mistreated. Because that's it. It's just priming you. Like the school is priming you, the college is priming you, the job is like, okay, now this is what all this was for you to suffer now for a paycheck and, you know, try to pay back them hefty student loans. But yeah. So now you won't leave because now you have to pay your student. I feel like they're all in cahoots together. But like,
we're putting a puzzle together. It's true.
Yes.
It's really true. Yeah.
Now you can't leave. Because now you got to pay us money. No. Yeah.
And we're taught to be grateful too, right? Those of us who are first generation college students, like having family expectations on top of everything else.
Yeah.
It's like, you should just be grateful that you're here.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I ask you a question? Did you feel like when you went to school, did you feel like you were carrying your family on your back, so to speak? Like you were not carrying, but like, maybe that was bad wording. Like, do you feel like you had to, did you feel like you had to carry people on your back, or did you feel like you had to be like the great hope? Like all this pressure is on you because you are first generation, like that you had to do well.
Yeah, I felt the pressure. And I think a lot of that was self-imposed. I don't think it necessarily came from my family directly. Okay. But feeling that inside, it's like, dang, I'm the first person to do this, right? The privilege in that. Knowing that everything that was sacrificed along the way, and I'm at this moment, I have to make this work. Right? Everything. I have to make this work no matter how much I'm being harmed, no matter what the physical consequences of it, no matter the student debt. I have to get that degree because I'm the first person to have this opportunity.
Ooh, that's heavy. Yeah. Like considering all the sacrifices. And I'm not putting that in quotes because I'm not saying it's not a sacrifice, but like that is important. Like the sacrifices, feeling like you owe it to them to do well. You owe it to them, like to show them that their sacrifices weren't in vain, so to speak. Yeah, that's heavy. Yeah. I cannot. Please get out my face.
Oh my gosh. The
Hello?
amount of times I saw this commercial.
Yes.
Memorized.
You're not doing nothing. You're dusty. Look at you. You're an embarrassment. Like, it's like, dang.
Oh
That
my
is so
gosh.
funny.
That is true. That is
Mm-mm-mm.
true.
Your life, Lynn, your life has... Sir, I'm just trying to watch Maury, please. Just,
Oh
like,
my
relax.
gosh. You watch Maury too?
I
That was
did
my
when I was home.
show. That was my show. Oh my god.
Yes. When my granny, my great grandma, she liked Jerry Springer. She liked...
Mine too. My great grandma did too.
I was like, girl, what is you on? Like, what's going on? But yes, wrestling.
Yeah,
She
you can
loved
watch that with her.
wrestling. Goodness, yeah, I love that
Mhm.
woman.
Yes. Yeah. It says 2024 prices with 1884 wages.
But you're not lying. Okay, the minimum wage in 1974 was $2.
Mm-hmm.
In 2008, it was $6.55. 34 years
Uh-huh.
and $4.55. You're not lying.
It's true. It's true. And the minimum wage hasn't increased in like decades,
Yeah,
right? If I recall correctly. Mm-hmm.
because I think they just got. I think in Maryland specifically, and I think maybe DC. DC might be higher, but I think in Maryland, I think it's like 15 now. Nope, that might be a lie. Actually, that feels a little high. But either way, yeah, it's still too low. Like, I don't understand who is surviving off of $15 an hour. That don't make no sense. Like, and you want us to pay you back, and y'all not wanting to come up off that money?
That's too much.
The math. Yes,
math.
it is too much. The math.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. No.
Yes.
Scrolling through some of these comments. Daisy says, I have music degrees, and a lot of people don't think that this degree is worth it. Like the different statuses of certain degree. Ooh.
Okay.
Is
Yes.
Anything you want to say about that?
Yes. So, okay, Daisy. So when I went to college, I wanted to major in music. I wanted to major in music and creative writing. And people told me not to do it because there's no money found in music, and you need something to, I guess, like fall back on, like a fallback plan or whatever. So like, yeah, you can do music on the side, but like study the thing. I do agree with you that people do look down on creative art degrees. They look down on philosophy degrees, sociology degrees. What else? A lot of liberal art degrees. And so like, I think there is a hierarchy. There definitely is a hierarchy of like what degree is impressive and what's not. And so I think that I celebrate you because that's dope. Like, that's dope. Having a degree period is dope. Learning music is dope. And if you got something from it, then it is worth it. If you feel like it was worth it, it's worth it. It's not up to other people to determine what is worth it to you. Like, because what's worth it to you might not be what's worth it to me. Like, they don't get to say what this driving. So I don't know if you could hear that with these cars, but they don't get to say what is valuable or worthy. Like, you do. And if you find it valuable and worthy, then by all means, celebrate that thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I do agree that there is a hierarchy. Yeah. I'm glad, in my case, I'm glad I didn't study music because I had a lot of white professors. Well, it was a white school. So there were a lot of white music professors. And I think if I were to study music, I would want to study under like black folks. That's just me, because black folks get black sound and black, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They understand how the black body works, even the lips, like how our lips, tend to be bigger than other, like there's just certain things like that you don't consider when you're singing, how our tones are richer, like there's a greater appreciation for the black voice amongst black people. So I think that if I went into the music degree program, I would have been harmed because I had friends who were harmed who were also black in the music program at Towson. So a lot of people lost their passion and their fire for music, and that's awful. But I'm happy for you, Daisy. That's awesome. You're living the dream. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, again, stolen knowledge sold back to us, right? How are certain folks oh my God.
Yep.
Teaching about music. It's like, hold on. Y'all done stole, okay.
All of it.
Like,
all of it.
Whoo.
Yeah.
That's
and then telling
real.
you that your voice is not good enough, even though they stole the music from you and your people. Okay. Okay, girl.
It's true. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like you said, like a lot of people like lose their passion in that process, which is intentional, right? A lot of this is intentional harm, like trying to dim our light that we come in with. As you said, like coming into college being like, oh my gosh, first of all, I finally made it here, right? In this prestigious place, university, and then to be harmed and mistreated at every turn, having your self esteem broken while experiencing financial duress at every turn. It's like,
I don't want to go
what are we
back.
putting people through? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true. That's true. Um, yeah, I've definitely heard that. I thought I wouldn't be able to progress in my career. Me too. Yeah, if I didn't go to a private university because the education isn't the same. I had that messaging too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
I've
That a
never heard
public
that.
university, yeah,
That's
wasn't as good
amazing.
as the private university.
So then they raised the prices to make it
Mm-hmm.
okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. It's a setup. It is a setup. Word Up with Temple says, and who are those people who talk down to you about Prince George's County College? Were they not black folk just like you and me?
And they were. Yes. Yes. They were
Mm.
the professors. They were the teachers. Yeah, the teachers, even some of the people who graduated maybe years before, that kind of thing. But yeah, like what is y'all talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What y'all talking about?
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's real. That's real. Michelle says, I felt like, yeah, yeah, it was the great hope. My parents said it in so many words, and my aunts. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so much pressure. I'm so sorry, Michelle.
it
That's a lot of
is.
pressure.
Yeah. Shade says, yes, regarding first generation. Yeah, family and the community were so supportive, but I was stressed trying to do everything perfectly. Perfectionism. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Too
And even
heavy of a
like with the
burden to
plus and
carry.
minus system, yeah, that you shared, that breeds perfectionism
Yes.
because the margin
Yes.
for error is like
Very small.
that small,
Very
right?
small. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The the trauma of that, like of being point oh whatever points away from getting the B. And you would think like, oh, if I'm a professor and I'm like, oh, you have, let's say the 83 is what you need. You have an 82.9. Girl, whatever. You good.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're fine. No, like they literally were like, you did not earn that. You did not earn that point oh whatever.
Oh
You know? So
gosh.
like, yeah, thinking that your best, cuz that was my best. Thinking your best isn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? And I guess technically it wasn't for them. So, but also like what I also realized is that because I was a black person, I'm not playing like I was like I don't want to play the race card. I don't want no. I had a lot of racist professors
Mm-hmm.
and they already they it's almost like they graded me more harsh than other students. You know, like there was like this. It's like, oh, you have to prove to us that you deserve to be here. Like that's kind of like the attitude in the air that a lot of these professors had. And so I'm doing presentations, I'm doing my best work because I can give a presentation, but like it's always like they always found something based off of their opinions, not even like even the rubrics they created were not based off of
Oh.
like they were so this is so up to you. This is not real. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
don't like me and you don't think
Mm-hmm.
it like they'll like, oh, if I don't think that you're dressed appropriately, honey, I'm poor. What do you like? I'm giving a presentation and you want me to give a presentation in a suit? I don't have any money for a suit. Like, and so
They
because I
said
don't
you
have
weren't
money.
dressed appropriately.
Oh yeah, when you gave presentations for like they graded you on
Yeah.
like your professionalism, which basically is
What?
like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yes, yes. You gotta. Oh
Wow.
yeah, for some of those classes, depending on what the class was for, you have to show up like professional, and so professional means I have thoughts on what
Oh
professional
my
means,
gosh. Me
but
too.
yeah, like you had to look the part, and so if you didn't look the part in their mind, then you're not gonna pass. You're not gonna get them points. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if what I'm wearing is all I got, because all my stuff is back at the house, and this is not where I live, then yeah, like
Right.
I have limited resources and means. So yeah, they would knock us down for that for sure.
Wow. Wow.
Oh
Ooh.
yes, walking across a hot campus
That I have
in
never heard
professional
of.
attire. Oh yeah.
Wow.
And even at some HBCUs, they do that. I know it. My cousin went to my cousin Hampton. Oh, she would drag me if I forgot. But my cousin went to Hampton, and they would have professional days where they would have to show up like literally wearing like fully like professional outfits, like walking to campus. And if you didn't show up in your attire, your correct attire, then you would either be sent home or you would have points deducted from you. And that's an HBCU. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Ooh. Ooh. Wow. I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much. That's just horrible. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yes, Demi Light is so relatable. It's why I dropped out the first time from
I'm so
art
sorry.
school. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And please rediscover that dream.
Yes.
Right? Because they don't have control and power over that. That's something I had to remind myself. All the times that teachers tried to like disintegrate my self-esteem little by little, it's like taking that power back now as an adult and picking those things back up that I put down because someone said I wasn't good at it. It's like, okay, Karen, you're over there.
Yes.
I'm picking back up what I know that I'm good at.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are not the keeper of this thing. Like,
You're not.
you're a vessel. Act like it.
Yes.
I did want to share one thing though, that comment, I think I was talking to Jamal earlier about like you are like your school is using you as a billboard for them, right? Like they're using you as advertisement to get other people into their schools and things like that. But the thing is like you're the magic. Like without you there would be no school. You know, like without y'all, without the students, there would be nothing. And so these schools would have you feel disempowered or like you don't matter. You're what makes the school matter. And it's time that they realize that too.
It's true.
So I just want to offer that. Like they don't get keep nothing. So
That's real. Yeah, we give them the power.
Yes.
Right. If we weren't there.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
Because they want you on the catalogs. They want you in the pamphlets.
Oh, no.
They want you at the events to promote their diverse culture. No.
It's true.
You're the magic.
Yeah. Ooh, that's true. Yeah. Even being in internships, right? The amount of people that try to take my picture. I'm like, no, you're not putting me on something like that. But that's true.
Absolutely not. Yes. Yes.
Ooh, murder magic tricks. School to desk job pipeline. Oh my gosh.
It's true. It's
wow.
True. Like, let me help you practice sitting at a desk. It's so true.
Wow. From kindergarten.
From kindergarten.
Right? And you realize how long this has been taking place.
We're trained very well. We're trained very well here. Yes.
Yeah. That's real.
That's so real.
It is.
I'm sorry.
It is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, if you just stop eating food, then you could pay off your loans. Yeah.
That part. That part. If you, what they say, if you stop getting a Starbucks, what is it? Stop getting them lattes. Then maybe you can afford a house. It's the same, like that same energy. Yes. Well, duh, don't eat. Hello.
Yep. Alicia, the new facilities we paid for are the school's new marketing.
Yes.
Yep. That is real. Is real. Yes, agreed. Aww. Very brave of you to share.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Daisy said, I've been in default for years. Like, listen, I don't have it. What are we supposed to do if we literally don't have the money, right?
That part.
Like you said, is it supposed to materialize?
Right.
Out of the air?
Girl, you tell me where it is because I don't know where to find it. And also take this degree back. Y'all can have it. That's fine. Like, I just wish, and again, when you're talking about like the, what was it? The filing bankruptcy, like the fact that you can't file, like that doesn't count if you file bankruptcy shows exactly what type of time they on. Because millionaire X and millionaire Y, they get to file bankruptcy every few years, and like but I'm literally just trying to do my best. Like, and this is also fake money. Let's also start there. Like, this is all fake. Like, this is all like, I hate the fact that places like Sally Mae exists because they exist solely to what is the word? Torture and torment people who are too poor, or people who are too poor to go to these schools. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, for me, they can all burn down. Like, you can call me all you want to. I don't have the money. What do you want me to do? And I'm not about to not enjoy life because you want money for, like, I thought about that, like, oh, if I do X, Y, and Z, like what Murder Magic, if I don't eat, if I don't go nowhere, I'm not going to not, here I go with the double negative, I'm not going to not enjoy my life. Like, I'm not going to not travel. I'm not going to stay. No, I am a human being, right? And money is fake. This is all made up. What's not fake is me. I'm here. Like, I'm here in the flesh. And so for me, it's like, you know, like, I deserve to have good things, even if I'm poor, even if I'm in debt. Like, no, you're not my number one priority. My number one priority is me. That's your bad, again. That's your bad for not doing market research. Hello? That's your bad. You're bad for the school not doing market research to see what people can afford and actually meeting that need. And it's also Sally Mae's bad for getting in between a corrupt system to fund something to make money. No, I think companies like Sally Mae should go under. I will starve that company if I have to, because they're evil. I don't feel bad about it either. I don't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Temple says, Alicia, that was a very brave and vulnerable share. I hope for you and pray with you that you can take what is left useful from that experience and move forward unencumbered by it.
Thank you.
Beautiful, Temple.
Yes, that's so kind. And I appreciate that. And I received that. And I feel like every day I'm moving a little closer to, like, sometimes I get the shame, like, girl, it's okay. But yeah, I really appreciate that. That really means a lot to me. I needed those words like 10 years ago to be like, it's okay. But yes, thank you so much. Yes. I need them today too. Yeah.
Launcher 3 says, wow, there's so much we don't know. Yeah. Thanks for the info concerning pass fail. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
About the plus or minus system.
It's evil. Wow. I'm glad y'all don't know about it. I'm glad. I am. Because it's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, debt without a degree. That's how a lot of us end our college experience.
Yeah.
We don't have the degree to show for it. Just the debt.
Yeah.
And the debt is not dependent on you having the degree. Right? So that's like even a further trap that's set up.
Exactly.
To make college like unlivable, untenable. So that you can continue in this program and then not even get a degree at the end of it. But you're trapped in debt. So it says debt traps like payday loans. Yeah. Offices all throughout our communities and more traps.
Yep.
Yeah. That's very true. Very true. Yep. Okay, y'all. Scrolling through. This made me laugh. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Rock Nation Brunch, Twitter. What else?
Yeah. Speaking of home, I don't even know if I want to buy a home anymore because that's predatory also. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people who have bought houses and like, this ain't what it was sold as.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't do that. Yeah.
Because you're not considering taxes. You're not considering the upkeep, repair, insurance.
And they can take it from you.
Yes.
Right?
If you don't pay it, that house, you could have paid $500,000 on this house. If you miss the taxes, it's theirs. Like, everything. That's why I just like, even these conversations that we have around wealth and money, it's like, we're all renting to own. We're all leasing. All of us are. Like, it's like, because we can't afford it. Like, we literally can't afford to live. So yeah, it's just, I understand about the house thing because I feel like on some level I am grieving the American dream. I'm grieving what I had in mind at 18. I'm going to go to college, get this degree. I literally want to be an interpreter and live in a row house in DC. Okay. I wanted to live in the Eastern Market area. Now that's gentrified. I can't afford to live there. And, you know, I had like these big dreams and I'm just like, as a kid, I didn't understand how much it cost, and not the money, but just like the time and the effort and the energy. And so there are a lot of parts that I'm just like, okay, what if you never get the house? What if you don't, I don't know what else. people say you should get? What, a house, a car, a white picket fence, 2.5 kids. Like, what if you don't have those things? And right now, it's not looking like I'm finna have a lot of them things because I literally can't afford it. Do you know what I'm saying? Can't afford it, and I'm not willing to do what it requires to upkeep and to acquire those things. And I think that's also okay. Like, I've decided what my heart is gonna be, and it's not gonna be that. Like, I'd rather choose a heart that is actually fulfilling and enjoyable. So, but I understand.
And that's a grieving process too.
It is.
As we talk about on your channel, right? Grieving what you thought you wanted,
Yeah.
right? Because that was sold to you.
Yeah.
And these are a lot of our dreams that we hold so tightly onto. Yes. And then when we get into institutions, it's like they turn to dust. Yeah. Right before our eyes. And then we have to grapple with the grief of that. That is never going to look like that. That what we were sold was actually a lie.
Yeah. Yeah. And dedicating so much time working towards this dream that is elusive. Like, it's just like you said, like, to dust. Like, that image is just like, oof. Like, because that's exactly what it is. You go in like full, like, yes, I'm here, I'm excited. And then about a year and you realize, okay, you sober out. You sober up pretty quickly. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that process is really difficult.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Daisy. So welcome. Yay. Thank you for being here. Yes. Cash App, if y'all have one.
Oh, that's kind.
I have a PayPal. I'll share. Yeah. And what's your Cash App?
It's Alicia Renice, all one word. If you want, it's no pressure, by the way. I'm trying to be better at receiving, but also it's okay. It's also okay. But yes, I appreciate that. Thank you.
As we're wrapping up, I do want to ask how people can continue to follow your journey online and support what you're doing, the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So you can follow me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Alicia Renice, the artist. What else? I be on Instagram having fun. I'm not really doing anything business-wise over there. Just like reposting stories I like. It's at Alicia Renice. One word. And then if you go to the link I should have had this prepared, but if you go to the link on YouTube or in the bio on my Instagram, you can sign up for my email list, my newsletter. I'm on sabbatical right now, so like that's new. Thank you. Resting and not having like work, I guess, like to, hey, sign up for this or whatever, is very strange. It's a very weird place for me to be in, to not be laboring or working. Oh yeah, thank you. Also, I have a website. Thank you. I do have a website, actually. Yes, it's aliciarenice.com. And thank you, Marissa. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can just follow me there. I'll be posting stuff. I recently posted a music video I did myself. That was fun. And thank you. And so I'm having a lot of fun just being human. So if you want to see me be human, follow me other places. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, as we're winding down, yay! We're excited.
Thank you. It's hard. We're going to talk about it, but it's hard. Yes. Yes. But I need it. I really do need it. Yeah. Yes.
We're excited.
Thank you, Pamela.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts that you'd like to share as we wind down?
I'm gonna be like, baby, you're a big deal. Okay? You're a big deal. You matter. Like, these institutions, that's wonderful. These job titles, it's great. Thank you, Nate. Thank you. Yes, I do have music if you want to buy. But yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But no, like, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. And like, not just like words, like you are a work of art. Like, you are amazing. Like, you should look at yourself and wonder in awe. And I understand this feeling of like, wow, my net worth is negative X, Y, and Z. No, like, your worth is not determined by how much money you got in your bank account, how much debt you have. None of that stuff really matters. Like, what matters is you and taking care of you and loving you. Yeah. And so you're always enough. You were always enough. You will always be enough. Yeah. Yeah, and no matter like what decisions you may have made that may be shamed in the famous that makes you feel ashamed in the famous words of my cousin Ariel, that shame is not yours. They want you to feel guilt and shame about it so that they're not held responsible. It is a system working how it's supposed to work. And even still, live. That's what I want to say. Live your life. Live. You know, I wondered when I was stressed out about the student loans, I was like, well, if I don't pay it, then X, Y, and Z's and my whole world's going to fall apart. It hasn't. My whole world has not fallen apart. I'm still here. I eat every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm housed. I'm clothed. I have running water. I have the opportunity to make choices. I'm being supported in ways that I could not imagine. Even a sabbatical. Stephanie Perry and the Vicarians are seeing to it that I have a sabbatical, right? And that wasn't from my own doing. And being able to lean into community and allow community to take care of me has been like paramount, because I thought I had to do everything by myself. And I just want to say that you will be taken care of. I know. It's hard to believe it in the moment when you're like, girl, you don't understand. Listen, I understand. I get it. You talking to the girl who almost been evicted, the girl who had her car repoed, all these other things. I just don't want you to miss your one precious life worrying about things that have nothing to do that literally don't hold a candle to your worth.
Right.
And your value. And you deserve to live. I don't care if you're poor. I don't care if you have a lot of money. You deserve to live. All this stuff is man-made and fake anyway. But you are eternal. So live.
That's true.
That's what I want to say.
I love that. Yes. You are eternal. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
And that just reminds me of like the teachings of Trisha Hersey as I'm going back and like reading her blog post, right? For inspiration. Like the system's going to do what they do, right? But you have to preserve yourself. Right, at the end of the day, you still have to live. Like you said, I think that's important.
Can I say one, when you're talking about Trisha Hersey, one line that stood out to me from her book Rest is Resistance is, let the chips fall where they may. Like let the system crumble, let the things fall, but what I will not let crumble or fall or like fall behind and fall on the wayside is myself. Let the chips fall where they may. And I've been sitting with that and like meditating on that. Like, let the story play out. You're safe in this moment. And I literally have to tell myself, like, I am okay. In this moment, I am okay. No one is coming to collect me. No one is coming to, throw me away or harm. I am okay. In every moment, usually when we're stressing or worried about things in the future, what could be, what is happening. Like, even what's happening is like, yeah, I'm in debt for sure. And also still like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm good. Yeah. I'm okay. And I'm a good thing. And I deserve good things. And this debt is not a moral failure. It's not some sort of judgment that I have to hold against myself. Like, no, I'm precious.
Right.
And so are you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's so true. Yep. Yeah. You've existed prior to these systems and you will exist after them.
Come on, Marissa. Yes.
That's hours, but yes. That.
I saw that post. I like that post.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's beautiful.
That was downloaded to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Because this world cannot define you, right? The shackles that it tries to place on us, these debt traps, as we've seen from generation to generation, it cannot define who we are or steal that essence or light if we don't allow them to, right? Because we give them that power and we can cut that off. No, you don't have that power anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cutting off that power. You are the power.
Yeah. You are the power. Yes. Thank you, Sade. Yes. Pamela says, and even still lives the title to an album, a devotional, something that I know I'd buy in a heartbeat. Okay.
Let me write this down. But no, that's beautiful. Yeah. That's lovely.
I love that. Yeah. Daisy says we need to get back to the villages of saving money for each person and give it each month or every 2 to 3 months. Wow.
I would love that.
That's a great
what they call
idea.
Is that like a susu or like a, I could be misspeaking. But I think that's the idea, like a pot and then, that's dope. Because like, this is the thing, this is the power of our imagination, right? Like what community can do.
Absolutely. Well, yes, y'all. As we're winding down, please be sure to, I'm sure y'all are already subscribed, but please subscribe to Alicia's channel.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, thank y'all so much for being here, sharing everything that you've shared in the chat, which I'll have to go back and read because that was healing,
Me too.
right? Just for us
Yes.
to like see that I'm not
Yeah.
alone,
Yeah.
not alone going through this, that a lot of us are struggling with the shame of student loan debt. And it's important to realize, like, externalize that, realize that you were surviving impossible circumstances and you're still here, right? And you can take your power back from these systems that try to steal it from you.
And you're doing
So,
a great job. Everyone who's
yeah.
listening, Marissa, you're doing a great job. Everybody's listening, you're doing a great job surviving these
Thank you.
systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks,
Yay.
Michelle. Appreciate that. All right, y'all. Yes. Pamela says, thank you for this conversation.
Oh,
I'm going to run
yay.
it back. Me too. I
Yay.
appreciate y'all. There's power in
Same.
community care. Yeah,
Oh, I agree.
I
Yeah.
agree.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, y'all. Well, until
Yes.
next time, thank y'all for being here.
Yes,
And yeah,
thank you. And thank
all
you,
right.
Marissa, for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for being a lovely guest as always,
Oh,
sharing so vulnerably,
oh, I
right? Your
appreciate that.
experiences that have been deeply healing for a lot of us. So,
That makes me happy.
yes. Yeah. Marshalla
Oh,
says, thank you all.
yay.
You're welcome. Thank you. El the Cahote says, thank you both for your words, inspiration, and light. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. You're welcome. You're
Yay.
welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Until next time. Thanks for being here. Bye.